Grace and peace, everybody. We're back up in the building. We're a little bit late, but it's because your girl did not upload her announcement until literally like a few minutes ago. So she's going live at 5:30. I was planning on just doing some body language expert reviews and such like that, but now she's done thrown me off. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and do the body language expert. Actually, I had 2 videos by him and a couple of others on my Thankful Thursday list here. 1, 2, 3. And I got a, you know what? We're going to start with Ami. We're going to start with Ami Kozak to start off, even though we ain't got the palette dirty yet. Jason, why we need to clean the palette yet? I know. Shout out to everybody who's jumped into the best live chat on the internet. This, I think, will at least, I'm sure y'all have seen this if you've been on YouTube at all. He decided to talk about Megan. So shout out to everybody. Thank you to the, looks like 65 that are in the best live chat on the internet. Let's get started. Here we go.
Oh my God, help, somebody!
Oh wow, are you okay?
Somebody please, stop that guy!
Okay, let's just relax. Let's calm down.
Oh my God, please!
Okay, what happened?
He stole my purse! Please, call someone!
All right, but, well, wait. How do you know he wasn't just helping you move your purse from one location to another?
What? He grabbed it and ran off with it!
Oh, okay. Well, look, were you going in that direction anyway?
I guess, but still, he stole it! He ran!
So...
Please, just help me!
I'm just putting it out there. Maybe he was being a gentleman and he was helping you move your purse from one side of the street down the street. I mean, chivalry is kind of dead. I think we kind of could use that. So...
He's getting away! Please!
Okay, all right, look. I don't want us to be distracted here. I hate that. We need to focus on, like, the bigger enemies.
Oh my God, he's coming back! He has a knife!
He has a knife?
Oh my God, he's pointing it right at me!
Oh, okay, how do we know he's not just using it to smear cream cheese on a bagel? I mean, maybe he's using it for lunch. You don't...
Oh my God, he just screamed, I'm gonna cut you, bitch!
Okay, that could be catcalling. He's catcalling you.
He's getting closer!
He's catcalling you, okay? Oh, what is this, about toxic masculinity now? Frankly, I like being catcalled, okay? It's flattering.
Oh my God, help! Help! Somebody stop him, please!
Look, I'm not the mother of the streets, okay?
Back away! Get away from me!
I want us to get along. I want us to just come together. This is so... I hate that. Oh, she's... Oh, God. Oh, he's just... Is that just a friendly stabbing? You're just giving her a little noogie?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, you guys are you're friends. You're friends. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go. That did not happen.
Shout out to Ami. All right. Yeah, I love Ami, man. He is hilarious. You know what? I forgot my bingo board. How did I forget my own bingo board? Let's go ahead and get Dr.
So we need to talk about
let's get
Piro talking to Megyn Kelly about Candace Owens saying that Erica Kerr.
All right, real quick, we're going to go ahead and use this as our get ourselves warmed up, get ourselves loose a little bit while I figure out where my bingo board is. Real quick, shout out Dr. Jesus Rosa. Let's go.
Erica was one of the co-conspirators to kill Charlie Kirk. So yes, this video is going to be very meta. So, but essentially it's that, okay? Ben Shapiro was talking to Megyn Kelly on at an event, and the topic of Candace Owens popped up. And Ben said a couple things that, well, maybe you have already seen this clip. If you haven't, then here it goes.
For example, Candace Owens. I think that what Candace Owens is doing right now is evil. It is evil what she is doing right now.
Okay, he makes it clear what Candace Owens is doing right now is evil. All right, interesting. The obvious question is, what do you mean by what she's doing right now?
Okay, and I say that again.
But what?
Because
like I didn't opine on whether it's evil or not, but my position is it's really none of my business. And
why is it? But I have a question. Why is it none of your business?
Okay, Megyn Kelly's trying to say, okay, what Candace Owens is doing is none of her business. I think that is a great debate to talk about because, well, here I am. I maybe should be mocking some liberals or something, but right now I'm talking about people on the right or conservatives, Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly. So I am talking about this. So let's say I care about this, and you were talking about that on X. So we need to address this conversation, and maybe I would say that yes, Megyn Kelly to one extent should be at least concerned of what is going on, maybe not address what is going on, but at least be in the know of what is happening.
I mean, you
Because
comment on these things for a living.
I'm not mother of the internet.
No, but if this were on the left and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be.
I don't understand why. Does she say this a lot? I'm not the mother of something, because I feel like I've heard her say this before. Why is that a clear answer? Well, I'm not the mother of the internet. I'm not the mother of the HOA. I'm not the mother of the PTA. So therefore, what? Why? That's such a weird response.
Talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes.
Okay, notice what just happened, right? Ben is making a very good point. If somebody on the left was saying that Erica Kirk conspired to kill Charlie Kirk, then Megyn Kelly 100% would be talking about that. But now, I have to remind you that I am not exactly a fan of Ben Shapiro. I think that he's like right there, like in the middle. I really don't listen to his show or his clips. I really don't connect with him. I'm trying to analyze this from an unbiased perspective. But yes, he got that right. Megyn Kelly will be talking about that. But he said categorically that Candace Owens said that Erica Kirk is a conspirator, or was a conspirator, or a co-conspirator of Charlie Kirk's assassination, her own husband. He just said that. I'm going to repeat it.
Of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes.
Very good question. Megyn Kelly asks the obvious question, is Candace Owens actually accusing Erica Kirk of that? And Ben says, yes. There's no nuance. There's no misunderstanding. He said yes.
Of murdering her own husband?
She's accusing TPUSA insiders and other members of the right wing, including Seth Dillon, of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk, yes.
Okay. Like I said, I don't take...
So he doubles down. He does not only said yes to the direct question if Candace Owens mentioned Erica Kirk as conspirator on Charlie Kirk's death. I'm going to say something about that in a minute. And he also says that Candace has talked about the guys at TPUSA. That's something that she has implied. She has mentioned some names. But with the Erica Kirk thing, let's watch the whole clip, and I'm going to talk about Candace Owens in a minute.
Okay. Like I said, I don't take in that content, which is an honest statement. I don't have time to watch
No,
Candace's show.
I believe you. But the point that I'm making is that
what I
that
understand
friendship
Candace
should
to
not,
have
in
been
our
doing.
business, I think it's important. Listen,
Candace
friendship
and I are
should
not
not
friends.
trump.
We don't even know each other.
I understand, but even with Tucker, friendship should not trump our manifest requirement to speak out when people do and say things that are both detrimental to conservatism and morally wrong.
Okay, Ben has a point. If you are a conservative and you're doing the things that are morally right, or in my case, I try to call my initiative, my channel, the common sense place to be. I try to focus things from a common sense perspective. Then you should call out what, in my case, when people are not having common sense. And that is regardless if they are on the left or the right or in the middle, whatever. If you are for or pro morally right, you should call out the people who are morally wrong. So the answer from Megyn is a bit disingenuous because yes, basically your job is knowing what is going on. And if you are one of the strongest conservative voices out there, and we would like to think that a conservative voice does that because they think that this is the right thing to do, then you will be aware. I'm trying to connect this. If somebody's saying, hypothetically, if somebody's saying something that harms the conservative movement that you're standing for because it's morally right, then you should call them out. That is Ben's stance using Candace Owens as example. The problem is using Candace Owens as example, especially saying, and this is the mistake that I think Ben commits. He says categorically that Candace Owens said that Erica Kirk conspired to kill her husband, which is not true. If I know that many of you are not Candace Owens fans. I have said time and time again, I am not a fan of Candace Owens. I know that many of you that watch my channel watch her channel too.
Let me jump in real quick because I understand what he's doing, and I do feel like he might be splitting hairs. Because if that be the case, then nobody can get arrested. Nobody should be arrested for inciting a riot, because they really didn't say go riot. They just pointed people to it, gave them the bricks, and poured the Molotov cocktails. There's a lot of things that are implied and they're wrong to do. And I think if I would like for Jesus to maybe look at what Milk Bar, I have Milk Bar queued up later on as well, to see like the information that we've seen. Because regretfully, we've seen a lot of Candace here on this channel. We're not Candace fans. The best live channel on the internet is probably more dialed in than probably Jesus, probably Ben, probably Megan too, because we watch it almost every day. That being the case, I think we've seen it. We know what they're talking about. So yes, she did not use the exact words. You can't find a structure of a sentence that says that Erica Kirk did XYZ. I got you. I don't think we play that game anywhere else though. Again, like there's a lot of other situations where it's implied, where what you're insinuating is just as bad as if you had said it directly. And I don't think he would do that, but let him continue, Jason.
But one thing that we need to be very clear is that Ben Shapiro just did exactly the same what the liberals, the left, the woke brigade did with Charlie Kirk. Take his words out of context. And in this case, were words that Charlie actually said, they took those words out of context. Technically,
I disagree with him here. And I do this a lot. I try my best. Stay with this topic. What the left did with Charlie Kirk's words, let that be over there. Take that and put it on this side of the table. We're going to stay right here with what Candace Owens said. That's it. We're not worrying about what Michelle Obama said. We're not worried about what Benny Johnson said last Tuesday. We're not worrying about what your uncle said at the cookout. We're talking about what Candace Owens said. Stick with that in the context and all of that kind of good nuance. We don't have to compare to what the left did, because I don't believe that we have the same motivation to misunderstand Candace's words and take them out of context, because he's almost insinuating that the left and the right have the exact same motivation for taking somebody's words out of context. So therefore, let's put that over there on the side. And let's stick right here with what was said by Candace Owens on her show and elsewhere on Twitter and such of that nature. Nowhere else. Let's not worry about the left did with Charlie or they did with Tucker or fill in the blank. So I disagree here.
I have to say this. What Ben Shapiro is doing this is even worse, because he's putting a sentence or words or a statement in Candace Owens' mouth that she did not say. And how do I know that she did not say it? Well, I do know for, maybe I don't watch Candace's show. I see clips that pop up on my timeline all the time. But I sometimes take a peek at people's channels and comments, and I have noticed in the comments of Candace Owens' YouTube channel, people criticizing Candace for not doing research or not investigating Erica Kirk, for not calling out Erica Kirk, for not saying that Erica Kirk is involved in whatever is happening.
That's I disagree with him. And I'm trying to be fair here on the channel. Y'all know I try my best. I watch people and listen to people that I disagree with. I'm sorry. I would love for him to go to any conservative person's channel and see if their comment section is saying anything akin to that. Come to my channel, Dr. Ruiz. Come to the best live chat, the most electrifying comment section on the planet. Come and see if we're saying that. You won't find it. Go to Allie Beth's, go to Melissa Doherty's, go to Todd Thinks, go to any of these other conservative Christian channels and read their comment section. And then you're going to have to wonder, why is Candace's comment section saying that, but we're not saying that? Why is that? I bet you don't see even on Ben Shapiro's comment section. Why is that? There's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason why Candace's channel is saying it. All these other people that side with Candace say it, but we're not saying it. Why? Why is that?
So let me get that straight. How come Candace Owens said, as Ben Shapiro says, that Erica Kirk was involved in her husband's assassination if her followers on her comments, not all of them, but a good chunk of them, are saying that you should investigate Erica Kirk, or Candace hasn't said anything about Erica because he is, I don't know, he is gagged or something. She is whatever. But they are criticizing her for that. So that's how I know that Candace Owens hasn't accused Erica Kirk of anything, at least directly or indirectly, because
No, you can't have it both ways. I'm sorry. You can't say that she said nothing. That's just not. Again, I think the memeology, the getting my information from clips, is reckless. And I try not to do that. I actually made a term. It's called memeology, when people get their theology from memes and just those little cute little sayings that they see on Instagram, and then they just make that their theology. No, you actually have to open up the book and actually study it. And I'm sorry, Dr. Ruiz, you're off here. Before you did this video, you maybe should have done a little bit of research and looked and said, okay, now granted, it's a lot of content, so maybe you need to say, hey, I watched 9 videos of hers. I think we would give you, and then you say, okay, I didn't see it in the 9 videos that I watched. I list them down below. These are the 9 videos. If y'all see something else or one that I missed, go on and so forth. But just to say outright and dismiss it completely out of hand, like, oh no, she didn't say anything. And 8 weeks, almost 5 days a week. Let's say 6 weeks. 6 weeks, almost 5 days a week. That's 30 something episodes. That's 30 hours. Sir, I'm sorry. You just don't have enough information.
you see the comments. You can go right there to her channel and see on any of the topics when she's covering the Charlie Kirk assassination, which has been pretty much every single show since September 10th. You can confirm that in the comments you still see, you look in the comments for Erica Kirk, you see the sentiment around Erica Kirk and how they criticize Candace Owens for that. So that's a mistake from Ben Shapiro. He's saying something that, all right, I can understand. We need to go to the other side of the coin. And I made an example with Jack Black the other day. I don't know if you have watched all my videos. I'm making a ton of videos lately. But this is like the example I made with Jack Black. There's the last part of this clip. I have the captions, so the last part of this clip is this one.
I don't totally disagree, but I think the way of handling that, at least for me, is much different. So I saw things go south between you and Tony.
Okay, that's the whole clip. So there's one thing that is undeniable that we simply cannot escape. Candace Owens, whether you like her show or not, we need to be extremely clear about this. She has this ability to speak in vague terms, in, asking questions. Where's the evidence of those questions? What makes you think that Jack Black killed Charlie Kirk? I'm not saying that she said that Jack Black killed Charlie Kirk. I made that example. I said that the FBI, it was a joke, of course, trying to make an example of this. I think the FBI should investigate Jack Black. And you would ask, what do you think is this? So do you have any evidence that Jack Black was involved? I am just asking questions. I'm just saying that Jack Black should be investigated. Why is the FBI not investigating Jack Black? It's a legitimate question.
But see, this is the problem with that. And I don't think he's thinking about his example. If I say the federal government, the FBI, should look into Jason from the Jay Witt podcast for unaliving Charlie Kirk, aren't I tacitly saying that, or I'm sorry, let me say another way. FBI needs to look into Jason because of Charlie Kirk's murder. Aren't I actually saying that Jason is involved in it? But what if I say the FBI needs to research the Jay-Wit podcast studio? They know what's going on with Charlie Kirk's murder. Aren't I actually lumping everybody related to the Jay-Wit podcast here at Whitaker Park? Aren't I throwing them all into it by saying that? Sure. I didn't say Jason did it because that's weird because I'm Jason. But aren't I tacitly saying that Jason is involved in it by saying the Jay-Wit studio and they are involved in it and they know what's going on? Sir, you know this. I'm sorry, that's, again, we didn't make it up out of whole cloth.
It can be a question, but you have the legitimate retort. I think, why? What kind of evidence do you have that Jack Black was involved, that aliens were involved, that Nicolas Maduro was involved, that I don't know, a K-pop band was involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination? That is the problem. That is the issue. Candace Owens has this ability. She is great at it. I'm not gonna lie. That is so amazing the way that she crafts these, these questions, and she makes the like this mystery evolve in a way that just grabs your attention. She is gifted in that way.
So what you're saying, if I'm understanding you correctly, Dr. Jesus, is that Candace can say it without saying it. So if I'm looking for a pound for pound definition, if I'm looking for a silver Yeti cup, I might not find it. I might not find a silver Yeti cup because that's not what's there. I might find a holiday Chick-fil-A cup. Does that mean that I didn't have anything to drink? Does that mean that there was no beverages on my table? Because you're looking for a silver Yeti cup, which by the way is empty. And I actually had so maybe we need to expand out what you're looking for. Maybe we need to be a little bit more, hey, maybe if the man said he had a drink while he was on the show, maybe he didn't drink from the silver Yeti. Maybe he did drink from something else. And we need to look for evidence to that point. And then we'll look around and say, oh, he did describe a cup, a white cup with joy written on it from Chick-fil-A. Oh, maybe he had that instead. So it's really that easy. It's not hard.
And that I'm not gonna lie. That's just amazing. That's just amazing. I maybe don't share her own stances on these topics, and much less I am not a fan of that. I try to go with what I see, and in fact that she has gotten right some things like that group chat. There were some chats that were released today. I think that is all over the place. Maybe I will mention that. Maybe I won't. But the problem is that I see here is that some people are indeed attacking Megyn Kelly for not knowing what happened. And I have to say something. Let's say I respect Megyn Kelly. I would say that I respect her professionally way more than I respect Ben Shapiro. I don't despise Ben Shapiro, or no, I think that he's doing a great job, but I respect Megyn Kelly more. I'm trying to, so you understand what I stand for here, but I'm going to defend Megyn Kelly in one thing, that she couldn't have possibly known that Candace Owens, quote unquote, said that Erica Kirk conspired to kill her husband if that never happened. And the other way that we know that Candace Owens never directly said that is that if Candace Owens had said that, you would be sure, you will know, it would be a no-brainer that clip will be everywhere.
Go to Milk Bar TV. He's got all of the clips lined up like dominoes. I'm sorry. And Jesus, I'm sorry. You're wrong on this one, my guy. Yeah, you're just wrong. I mean, now Megyn, again, she might not need to know every in and out, and she could just say like, hey, I don't know all of that. Can I get back to you? Can I research on it a little bit later? I'm gonna rage quit, Jesus. I had not actually watched that, and usually I agree with him, even when we might disagree. I usually agree with him, but that right there, I just think that was a complete and total whiff. He totally missed that one completely. But I don't think anybody's attacking Megan because she doesn't know. It's because she came back and doubled back and said, and matter of fact, because I had the second video that he did, that Enrique did. I mean, Enrique, Jesus did about Megyn Kelly saying that Ben Shapiro lied, and I don't think we have enough time to watch it. But I think I'm gonna just rage quit on this one because actually it's 18 minutes, it's 8 minutes long. I don't know if I want to watch it because I feel like he's not being a fair dealer on this. I don't think that that's the right way to go about it because we can find evidence following this, especially being that he's involved in true crimes and cold cases and such like that. There's just entirely too many ways to find evidence besides just saying Jason said out of his mouth X, Y, Z, ABC. There's just too many other options, and there's no reason to say, well, the only way that we can find this is he has to say emphatically. I mean, come on, for crying out loud, man. Watch interrogation videos. Man. You're never going to get a criminal say, yes, I went into the bank, I pulled on the mask, I pulled on my 12 gauge and said, put the money in the bag. That rarely happens. There's a lot of other evidence that comes into play in order to make that to bring that conviction to light. And I disagree with him. And usually I rock with him. I usually rock with Jesus. I really do. But this one right here, yeah, that's a swing and a miss. Do y'all want to give him another shot in the chat? Let me know. Yes, green hearts in the chat if you want to give him another shot. And look at the other one he did where Megyn Kelly came back the next day when Megyn Kelly came back. If y'all don't want to, there's zero harm, zero foul. I got some better videos later on. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm disappointed in that one because I feel like, and again, it's not that I want you to agree with me. There's a lot of people in here that disagree with me about various and sundry things. And I think I've had people tell me I was wrong about what I said about Deion Sanders at Colorado. I didn't come off the top rope. I didn't delete the person's comment. I told them, thank you. I didn't realize that. And I apologize. I said, thank you for letting me know. So I'm willing to accept things. If I hear something and I translate it one way, but then I look at it another way and it's wrong. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people, when I got on here and tried to call myself pronouncing Vivek Ramaswamy's name for the first time, oh my goodness. I was thoroughly humiliated because I had never pronounced it out loud, and I pronounced it out loud and it was a mess. I don't remember what I said, but it was a mess. Okay. It was terrible. But again, I don't want you just to agree with me, but on the same note though, we didn't just make this up out of whole cloth. And if all you did was look on Candace's page, maybe you should look on others' page. I mean, maybe look on Brandon Tatum's or look on somebody else who's middle of the road, and maybe look at 2 or 3 people who are anti-Candace and just read their comment section. If the comment section is your rule of thumb, maybe you should just expand it out. I don't think we do research and say I only looked in one place and that's it. And I think somebody mentioned it earlier, like, what would y'all do in reading the Gospels? All 4 Gospels are slightly different. I mean, what do you do? Because you just read Matthew and you're good to go? You just read John. Well, you can't read John. I think John is probably the pinnacle of all 4 of them. But you got my point. And you feel like you know everything and you read from John? Come on. No, there's other things that you're going to get from all 4 of the authors. But my point is this. I don't think he did a good job. I'm sorry. And I apologize to y'all because I really thought, I was like, oh man, I like him. Let me pull him in real quick. Well, that was a train wreck. That was an absolute disaster. And I won't do that again. So I'm thankful for y'all letting me know on my Thankful Thursday. I do want to bring in real quick. I want to talk about what I think is going to happen tonight. So we're going to take we're not taking predictions, but we're just taking predictions. I think I think I know why. Because let me show you what I think is going to happen. And okay, I'm going to pull this in. And y'all make all right. Okay. And I noticed that her thumbnail is really telling. It's really telling. I'm going to start on the far right. Who is that? That's Rob McCoy. We already know that she does not like Rob McCoy. Why does she not like Rob McCoy? She doesn't like Rob McCoy because he's one of the first quote unquote pastors, and she called it what, Operation Mocking Pastor, one of the first pastors to come out and speak against her directly and call her name specifically. Now, who do we have next? We got Trump and Epstein. Now, of course, I believe there's some email floating out here and whatever like that. But why is she even bringing this in? Because she hates Trump, because Trump didn't, I don't think she ever was in support of Trump. Let me just tell the truth. But Trump also did not tap her to join his cabinet once in his second term. So I really believe that her issue is, now we can say that she's mad about the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing and whatever Trump said. Are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? All that kind of stuff like that. And I do believe there's some, that critique is fair. But why is it there? Again, somebody else who snubbed her, somebody else who did not live up to the standard that she had for them, or what treat her the way that she thinks that she needs to be treated. And then who's the last one? The last one, of course, is her and Charlie Kirk, because the argument and the case has been made. I think has been is floating all around Twitter, all around YouTube and social media, that they really weren't as close of friends as she is projecting. It's not even they, it's she. And so I do believe that this video, this picture, and let me bring it back in, Jason. Bring it back in. Okay. This picture right here. Can I do this? Let's see. It will not let me zoom in. Okay. This picture, when you pass by it, it looks like they're really close to each other. Do you see that? It looks like they're like literally knee to knee. That's pretty close when you're talking to somebody. If your knees are touching each other, y'all are in some real close proximity. The problem is this picture is edited. There's a slice right between this picture right here. They weren't that close, but she edited the picture to make her look like she's that close to him. Why is that? Why would you do that? Only to try to make the argument that, yeah, it is from an old interview for sure, but to try to make this case that you and Charlie were as thick as thieves. And because again, that narrative that y'all really weren't that close, that Charlie had distanced himself from you and your ideas, that argument is floating out there, and I think is gaining traction. And we know this, she does respond to her critics. Somebody mentioned this morning to me in Discord that how funny it is that Candace spends about 80% of her time arguing with critics or adjusting critics or addressing critics or somehow or another. Not a lot of her time is spent really doing, conversating about anything else. It's really adjusting or addressing critics, whether it be a critic on Twitter, a critic in an article, a critic on YouTube, whatever. She's been spending a lot of time addressing critics more than whatever this investigation is supposed to be. Because we saw yesterday, the investigation was hot trash. The one on Monday, hot trash. Like, well, what are you doing? So I do think, just in my little 2 cents, that today we're going to see another attack on Rob McCoy. Because how dare he speak out against her? And he's a part of TPUSA. I mean, and she's not. She's on the outside looking in. Shout out Donald Trump, whatever's going on with the Epstein files, he's going to catch her ire, because he didn't. Now, I guarantee you, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We probably really wouldn't be having this conversation if he had tapped her to be on his cabinet. And then, of course, lastly, she's going to make some kind of heartfelt plea that her and Charlie Kirk were as thick as thieves. I'm going to keep my prediction out there. Eventually, yes, we are. I'm sorry. Eventually, she is going to have to break down and say that she and Charlie Kirk were doing something extramarital, because that's the only way her argumentations are going to be valid, because they're losing steam every day. Real quick shout out. Thank you so much. I am playing bingo. Hopefully you all are playing bingo too. If you need a bingo board, I can put it up here. I know the mods have put it out there in the chat, but here it is right there. If you want to tap that QR code, grab yourself a bingo board. and such like that. I don't have no reason. I don't want it to be right. I do not want to be right, but there's no reason 1483 for her not to. Tell me why she would not. She's shown personal text messages. She shows personal DMs. She shows private pictures. She disparages his wife, his family, everybody that worked around him. She disparages his faith. Show me why. What would be the reason? What is the governor that would govern her to not say something like that? I don't think it one exists. All right, so I got they, random person. Israel did it. My gut. A claim without receipts. Allie. Call out random country. Charlie. I don't like Trump. I know that was going to be in there, of course. Generous eyes. Hunch. Military. I know that's there. Betrayal. FBI. I have messages. Leaks. I just sense racism. Vibes. Erica. Patchwork theories. And dock someone. And I won't share. You can already have Erica because they talked about Erica on that on Dr. Jesus's video. I think that's, well, he did say Charlie too. I'm gonna do that too. He said Charlie. There we go. Because we're just doing it. We're just playing. All right, what do we got here? Shout out to the best live chat on the internet. Thank y'all so much for not only tapping in. There's 450 y'all. What's going on, people? What's happening? Why don't y'all real quick, where y'all are from? Real quick in the chat. We got a few minutes. Real quick, drop your flag, drop your emoji, the emoji flag, whatever. Where y'all from? Y'all know I'm from the Peach State. Y'all know I'm from Georgia. You know your boy over here in Georgia. Let's see. Why can't I find the U.S. flag? Okay, here we go. What in the world? Oh, I don't like these. Okay, I'm going to put a peach in here. I have no idea. I cannot find an American flag on here. I don't know. Is it because I don't got my glasses on? What is going on here? All right. Bang, Jason. Right, where's the U.S. flag? Why can't I find a U.S.? Okay, that's crazy. All right, let me see. Yeah, they got every other flag except it. I must be tripping. They said they're from America. I love it. What's going on? Uh-oh, we got some Cajuns up in here. We got the Bayou countries represented up in here. Are you laughing at me, Juju, for real? Well, welcome to, hey, we're glad to have you. Thank you. 5070, thank you. Okay, I'm tripping. I'm telling you right now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, on my Mac, there's no option for American flag. Hold on, let me go to emoji real quick and get emoji. Because, look, y'all not going to take, look, I need a Georgia flag. That's what I need. I'm over here tripping. Y'all got me over here tripping. All right, here we go. Let me drop that in there. Why is it that complex? There we go. Why a peach? Because Georgia's a peach state? I hope I didn't do something wrong. Did I do something wrong? I'm gonna show you I have to show y'all my picture. Mine, when I scanned up for flags, there was like maybe 9, and 3 of them was like some craziness. All right, we got some good people up in here. What we got? Y'all cousin is about to go live in a second. I see Mike in the building. What's up, Mike from White Label up in here? I see Texas in the building. All right, what we got? All right, we playing bingo. Let's get ready to play that bingo. If you're playing, make sure that you go ahead and give yourself that free space already. And your girl is here. Let's have some fun, ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado. All right. North Carolina in the building. There we go. Got the Tylenol ready. Did I hit pause? I think I hit pause, y'all. That is hilarious. Here comes Jigsaw. That is wild. Where's bingo? I got the bingo board is right up here, Fawn 218. If you scan the QR code right here, if the mods can drop the link to the bingo board in the chat as well.
All right, you guys.
Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
Now, somebody sent me this throwback clip from Charlie and I back when I had a show on PragerU. We were discussing the kind of allies that you need when bullets are flying at you. Take a listen.
You know, when you're in a foxhole, you want someone who is not going to tell you that there's no bullets being fired. You want just to say where the bullets are coming from.
Right. Yeah. That's
right?
exactly
You
right.
know?
Yeah.
You don't want someone in the foxhole with you being like, well, want to get a hot dog,
Right,
like
yeah.
maybe a burger, a smoothie. You want to say, no. There's a machine gun nest over
Right.
there. There's mortar shells coming from there.
Right.
Well, here's what we're going to do
Here's
to be
the
able to
plan
do
of
that.
action to get out of this.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's the type of friend that you want. And you definitely don't want one that's going to run for the hills behind
Right.
you.
Yeah.
And
We've
you're
had
alone.
those. We've
Run-
had those.
yes.
We definitely know who our allies are. I am resisting making a comment about Mikey McCoy. But ladies and gentlemen, we are definitively in the foxhole right now. And we are learning who Charlie Kirk's real allies are and who his real allies were. So welcome back to Candace. Who were Charlie Kirk's real friends?
Oh, here we
That's what I
go.
know. I just want to know who were his actual friends and his allies, because somehow too many of them are trying to criminalize asking any questions. Don't just ask questions, just accept the Fed slop. It seems a little bit ridiculous. We should start, by the way, with Frank Turek. Frank Turek, as a reminder, he is the pastor friend who was next to Charlie. Actually, when he was assassinated, you remember, he was wearing the white hat. He ducks down. He is one of the people that helped to get Charlie to the vehicle. He was at the hospital. Well, I just learned that Frank Turek was reacting to me. He went on CBN News recently, and here is what he had to say.
I have not followed Candace Owens closely. I know she was a good friend of Charlie years ago. In fact, when I first met Charlie, I said, you know, tell me a little bit about your ministry, you know, like your what you do, and you know who have you mentored. He mentioned Candace Owens, and Charlie would never speak ill of anybody privately unless he spoke to that person first and tried to correct them. So Charlie never said anything bad about Candace or anything, but I just find this idea that she's making all these suggestions without evidence very painful for people. It's okay to suggest, well, maybe this, maybe that, but as soon as you start launching accusations, TPUSA betrayed, so you know him, portrayed Charlie. You know, I had a dream that Charlie told me this. That's not evidence. I mean, maybe she's right. You know, it could be. Anything's possible. But not everything has evidence behind them. And what people don't seem to understand, and this is why I had my friend Detective J. Warner Wallace on my podcast 2 weeks after Charlie's martyrdom, people don't understand how prosecution works, how murder cases work. The prosecution rarely tells you anything they have, much less everything they have.
Okay, before she jumps in the chat, do you think she's going to address what he said about lack of evidence? Charlie Kirk never said anything back. Because, by the way, If Charlie Kirk never said anything bad about anyone without speaking to them directly, then that means he spoke to Ben Shapiro. That means that whole whatever happened with Ben Shapiro of the House of Cards has just collapsed. Do you think she's going to address it? We stopped it right there. She's ready. She's poised. She's ready to pounce, and she's ready to address it. What do you think? Here we go, y'all.
Okay, so a couple of things I want to say here. First and foremost, I am loving this repeat talking point of people who claim that they didn't watch all the episodes, they don't have time to watch the episodes, they don't have time to go through the facts, and yet all of them, for some reason, know that I said that I had a dream that Charlie was betrayed, right?
That's because it's such a wackadoodle statement. You know, do you watch every one of Michael Jordan's basketball games, or do you watch the highlight reel and you see him dunk on whomever it was? Do you need to watch every game of the Lakers, or do you know LeBron James showed out in one game? Come on, it's a highlight reel, Candace. Come on, ma'am. And then you double down on it. Not only did he come to you in a dream, so don't try to disavow your foolishness, ma'am. Hold on to it, embrace it. But then also, please understand, Megyn Kelly said that she didn't watch all that you've done, but she defended you. Are you okay with that? See, it's not a 1-for-1, babes. Let's go.
That's how you know that you are in the midst of a propaganda spell, that they have been delivered talking points. I mean, it's such a minute point in all of the evidence that I presented. I have done second by second.
You said Charlie came to you and told you that he had been betrayed. You know what? Hold on. If you got betrayal on your bingo board, go ahead and do it, because I'm using the word betrayed. Go ahead and take betrayed. Ma'am, it's not like Charlie Kirk came to you and gave you his Starbucks order. Charlie Kirk came to me and gave me his Netflix password. No, you said Charlie Kirk came to you. This woman is precious, y'all. Oh, by the way, shout out to all the candies in the chat. There's 530 people in the chat. I know the candies are here. Go on up. Come on up here to the front of the church. We leave space for you. The open pews in the front are for you. Ma'am, you literally said the man came to you and told you that he had been betrayed. That's a bigger deal than Charlie Kirk gave me his Netflix password. It's a little bit bigger than that. It's a little bit more important than that. That's why everybody knows it. It's not a talking point. Ma'am, it was all over the interweb. And you was out here fighting in the Twitter streets about it. Be so for real. Be so for real.
Timelines. I have done minute by minute timelines. I have presented webs of people and their connections. I have presented a list of how many times we were lied to by Turning Point USA. But they don't know any of that. What they know is that on one episode, Candace said that she had a dream, right? Ali Stuckey just did this too. She did a video and was like, I don't have these dreams. The idea here is
Ali.
All be crazy.
Ali got called out. Okay, y'all, if you got Ali on your bingo board, make sure you put Ali on there. Ali catching strays tonight. Shout out. But she is not going to talk about the substance of what Ali said. She's not going to deal with that.
The rantings every day. Candace is up on this show like Miss Cleo from the 90s and just like predicting what she thinks happened. It's such a ridiculous way to try to delegitimize the research that
who
we
said
have
that?
done. Now, I don't know how you're able to comment if you have not watched what I said.
That is not, I'm sorry. Okay. This is what they did during the Macron case as well. You got to watch all 18 hours of content before you say anything about one minute detail that happened. If you don't watch everything, and by the way, we watch, I think, the best live chat on the internet and the most electrifying comment section in the solar system. I think we watch more content than most people. I think y'all watch more of it than most. And I think you all are definitely dialed in. So you can talk about it. But even more than that, y'all allow Megyn Kelly to talk about stuff she don't know about. You let Tucker Carlson say he don't know anything about it, but he can still talk about it. So we can do the exact same thing. Just because they're in your favor, just because you like them, ma'am, nobody gives a care what you're talking about. We're going to continue to talk about it, and that's just going to be what it is. So you have a couple of options. One of those options is that Jason's going to get that screenshot, because that is crazy. I'm the king of these faces. I have a file of these, and I need to go to jail for them things. One, Just accept it, chick. You told Kash Patel's girlfriend to get off the internet as she can't handle critique. Ma'am, the same thing applies here. The exact same thing applies here. Okay, let it go. Should I unfreeze it? Let it go.
We are only interested in getting to the truth. So here's what I did. I personally invited Frank Turek onto the show because we legitimately want answers. Now, to his second point that he is making there, where he is trying to now say, this is not how court cases work. We're not looking to have a conversation with the prosecution. Okay, we've already decided that this entire investigation feels like a bad Fed operation. We are looking for answers from his friends. Like you guys can just serve public interest here. Okay, we should not pretend like somehow the case would be put at risk if Mikey McCoy shared his call logs.
I don't think anybody's saying that. We want your call logs in, Candace. That's the thing. Ma'am, we don't owe you anything. Somebody's saying that. Like, nobody owes you anything, Candace. So you can sit there and look coy if you want to, with your little smile if you want to. But ma'am, nobody cares what you're talking about. Mike McCoy doesn't owe you anything. Just because you're asking questions, then Candace, okay, fine. I'm asking questions. I need to see who's actually paying you. I think Qatar is paying you. So therefore, if you have nothing to hide, then you would send me your bank statements and your Cash Apps and your PayPals and your Super Chats showing that you were not paid by Qatar. The exact same thing applies. Two randoms on YouTube talking loud. You're in your basement. I'm off my kitchen. And guess what? Nothing is going to happen.
Not going to impact the case. How is that? If you answered questions about why Charlie wanted to put together the Doge committee, how would that impact the case? We actually don't really care about the case because we're not feeling like Tyler Robinson acted alone and he's the lone shooter. But we deeply care about whether or not and why his friends seem to have been lying to the public. Like we have found these lies. You can't undo that. And you guys,
you haven't found any lies. Did y'all hear that? That was, hold on. I don't want to back it up. Did y'all hear that? She said, we actually don't care about the case. So is it fair to say if I don't care about this Chick-fil-A cup, that I'm not going to treat it with respect, that I'm not going to treat it like it matters? Because it doesn't. I don't care about it. So it's very possible. So the idea that she's trying to ruin the case, is that too far? Is that a lap too far? I don't think so at all. She literally said, we don't care about the case. Hold on. I don't want to do it, but we got to back up. I got to. I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, right? Oh, that was a good face, too. All right, let's see right here. I feel like it's a little bit further back, Jason.
How would that impact the case? We actually don't really care about the case because we're not feeling like
Somebody clip that. Did she just say she doesn't care about the case? So all of this all this that she's doing, what is it for? If you don't care about the case. She just said that.
Tyler Robinson acted alone and he's the lone shooter. But we deeply care about whether or not and why his friends seem to have been lying to the public. Like we have found these lies. You can't undo that. And you guys are refusing to respond to that. We care about whether or not his friends betrayed him. Okay. So dreams can give you some sort of intuition. And I certainly think that mine gave me a lot of intuition. But now we have the facts to back that up. At least the claim that they're betraying him now, right? By not answering very simple questions and by lying to the public. So I would very much.
So she's admitting that she makes it sound like the dream wasn't that important, but she's now relying on the dream. Okay. There we go.
Much invite Frank Turek onto the show. I don't think we've ever covered Frank Turek. He hasn't really come up in this investigation. He hasn't been caught in any lies, certainly. So I don't know why he would have an issue with coming onto the show to explain how prosecutions work. And I can explain how friendships work. We knew, the public, we all knew who Charlie Kirk was as a human being, okay? Charlie Kirk has been assassinated. And what we are doing now is we are rejecting this idea that everyone who hit the stage at his memorial event can somehow now just be grandfathered into this organization, grandfathered into our acceptance. These individuals should no longer be questioned. They were friends of Charlie Kirk. That's emotional manipulation. They say they loved Charlie, and so we should just trust the science and ignore the many lies that they have told us. What exactly is TPUSA faith? Who is Rob McCoy?
Okay, this is really interesting because do y'all know why she keeps haranguing the people that were on the stage at the memorial? Anybody want to take a guess? Anybody want to take a guess? Bueller? Why does she keep haranguing people she keeps saying specifically at the memorial? Does anybody know why she does that? Or anybody has a guess, rather? There it is. Hold on, I just saw it. Because she wasn't invited. I guarantee you, none of those people would be catching strays if she had been invited. She's jealous. She got jealousy. The green eye monster is real. Let's go. But
why is it that these Calvary chapels have a long history of weird abuse and trafficking scandals?
What about
get swept?
What about the Catholic Church, boo?
Under the rug, right? Why is Rob McCoy adjacent to some of these scandals? I'm going to give you just one, I think, big example here. Okay, this is a true story. I hope I'm saying his last name right. Thomas Kimono was a man who was factually put away into prison for abuse, molesting, lewd conduct toward young girls. By pretending, how he did this was he pretended that his cat was lost, okay? I'm going to read you an email that I received from one of his victims who is now an adult, but she was just an eight-year-old child back in 1995. Here's what it reads in part, okay? I was 8 years old, living in Dana Point, California, when Thomas approached my friend and I to help him find his cat. He took us to a park behind my house and tried to molest me before I ran away. I was a key witness in his trial before he was sentenced to 8 years in prison. He molested multiple girls between 1990 and 1995. Now, you will notice that I am not saying allegedly because he went to prison for this. So this is not I'm not risking defamation here. She's not lying. We looked into this. In 1990, Camino was placed on probation for pleading no contest to lewd conduct involving children in Manhattan Beach. That's in Orange County. A few years later, he apparently went on a tear to try to lure young girls in an entirely different county, okay? Let's read an article regarding that sentencing. Here's the headline in the LA Times. This is from 1995. As you can see, the headline reads, Child Molester Draws an 8-year term in Prison. Thomas Michael Camino, who tried to lure girls with a lost cat story, gets maximum sentence requested by the parents of 3 victims. Listen to that, 3 victims, okay? The article goes on, it says, Thomas Michael Camino, 31 years old, of San Juan Capistrano, was convicted in May of molesting an 8-year-old girl and trying to lure a dozen others into sexual encounters by asking for help in finding his cat. Orange County Superior Court.
Okay, this is what's called the poop stink theory, guilt by association. I'm going to drop the link to that Candace is reading in the chat. I just found it. I'm going to drop it in there. Make sure your ad blocker's off if you want to read it. The thing that's adorable here is that Rob McCoy's name is not mentioned in this. So I'm just trying to figure out it. I want to go back and read that email that she received, because how are you associating this with Rob McCoy? This is crazy work. And I really hope that this is enough for her to get another defamation case, because this is pretty bad.
Commissioner Richard M. Aronson imposed the maximum term after the parents of 3 victims rose in sadness and anger to seek a stern punishment. The father of a 7-year-old girl who alluded that Camino said the cat ruse preyed on the girl's innocence. Camino's lawyer said his client, who had previously maintained his innocence, was now admitting his guilt. Attorney Danny Davis sought a shorter 6-year sentence, arguing that the maximum term might harm any chance for needing psychological counseling and rehabilitation. Camino terrorized the Dana Point neighborhood for more than 4 months last year. Prosecutors said he approached young girls, lured them into secluded spots such as a riverbed and the basement of a house by asking them.
Did you see what she did there? She's in trouble, y'all. Did you hear what she did? Did you hear that? She said last year. Listen to what she did. Again, it's a faux pas, but again, like, you're doing this on your own strength. Nobody told you how to do this, Candace. So listen to what she says.
Was now admitting his guilt. Attorney Danny Davis sought a shorter 6-year sentence, arguing that the maximum term might harm any chance for needing psychological counseling and rehabilitation. Camino terrorized the Dana Point neighborhood for more than 4 months last year.
So she now, granted, this happened in 1995, but she just said last year, 4 months last year. So now she's already thrown it out there that this happened. This is recent. And who is she trying to tie it to? Rob McCoy.
Prosecutors said he approached young girls, lured them into secluded spots such as a riverbed and the basement of a house by asking them to find his cat. The basement of a house. He was convicted of molestation, indecent exposure, and 10 counts of child annoyance. In the molestation case, Camino grabbed the girl's hand and forced her to touch him. Now, I want you to remember that this happened across 2 counties, okay? I also want you to remember that we're speaking about 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds, right? We're talking about 3rd graders, not toddlers whose memories might be iffy, who might have difficulty communicating things, might not find the right words, might not be sure of themselves, but 8-year-olds who are fully online mentally, right? Imagine yourself at 8 years old in 3rd grade. I have every memory of being in 3rd grade. I have memory of traumas in 3rd grade when a cousin of mine died in a car accident. Despite his conviction, despite having spent years in prison for these crimes, Rob McCoy, the pastor who makes my skin crawl, struck up thereafter and maintained a long friendship with Thomas Camino across decades. Now, that's not exactly a problem per se. Rehabilitation is a thing. The problem comes in when Rob then decides that Camino should be involved in the Calvary Chapel Church, and more specifically, that Camino should have access to young children in a program called Home Fellowship, which put him inside the homes of children. And he almost got away with it until some mothers went online, remembered exactly what had happened, and raised hell about it in 2022. Now, in response to this being discovered, Rob McCoy did not apologize. No. That's not how this works. Instead, you are about to see Rob basically employ tactics of psychological gaslighting. Maybe he learned this from his father, who did this for Navy intelligence.
That's hilarious.
But he is going to host Thomas Camino for a podcast episode on the Bryce Eddy Show. He's going to vent his frustration at the people who are up in arms about the placement of this man in close confine with young children without people recognizing that, okay, this guy has literally spent 8 years in prison for abuse. This is how Rob McCoy intros Thomas on his podcast.
And let me real quick. I just found it. I'll drop the link for it if y'all want to, if you're interested in checking out the full thing. And you know what? I'm going to give her that. That's probably not the best thing. And that probably would be a real example of fumbling and not taking care of your flock as a pastor. I would probably agree with that. I would agree with that. He doesn't need to be around children and family. I got you. Not a problem. I don't know the full details, however, of what he was trying to do. What was the thought process behind it? Is he a registered SA? Because that makes a big deal as well. Because otherwise you can't be around children legally. But if so there might be there's some other things I want to know, but on the surface, I can give you right there. That probably is right here. That's a little bit too forgiving. I can give you that. I got you. But then I think the better question is this. How's this relate to Charlie? So she's trying to do the guilt by association. You know, Rob McCoy is a terrible person. So therefore, he has to be lying about what I'm saying now about him and Charlie. I mean, him being involved or knowing something about Charlie Kirk. And even more, she's going to try to drag Mike McCoy into it. That's what she's doing. But shout out to Candace. You're trying your best, girl. You really are trying.
Take a listen.
I was so compelled because of the
did you say?
gossip and the slander of my friend who's going to join me that I wanted him to tell his story. So 20 years ago, when we were over at Skyline, the introduction was you walked in and you said, I need to talk to you and I got to share with you. And you were just pretty blunt. You just laid it out there. And you said, this is what it is. And you followed the procedures. You did what was required of you. And you and I have been friends. There's been no issues. It's remarkable how you've served this community. I personally made the call that they can make fun of us and they can claim whatever they want to claim, but I wanted your family protected. So I pulled that, I guess it was a advertisement for the home fellowship, which we do for all the home fellowships.
So he's upset and he goes on to talk about how people online who don't know the full story are digging stuff up and like this guy's really a good guy. And I'm going to have Camino actually explain what really happened that put him into prison. Let me know if you're buying this story that he's about to tell. Take a listen.
Let me make sure I got this right. Hold on. Let me know. So people saying they don't have the full story. They need to hear more information. They want to hear all the sides. That's bad, right? Let me know in the chat. That's bad, right? According to Candace's testimony, if I say I need to hear the whole story, I need to get the full breadth of it, that's wrong, that's bad, right? Am I understanding that correctly? Is that what she's saying? Am I still muted or was muted? Okay. Is that basically what she says? Yeah, I just want to make sure I have it right because I have a question. Okay, am I still? Okay, you can't hear me. Okay. All right. Okay, so she's a vindictive person, right? But let me ask you, so I'm just wondering, so that's bad to want more information, right? And so this is my question then. Didn't just 4 minutes ago and 32 seconds, didn't she just say that people haven't watched her whole series, but they were doing the same thing and it's okay? Am I missing something? So people saying they want all of the information before they make a judgment on this situation, they're bad. But people saying that, or Candace saying, you have not watched all of my series, therefore you can't make a judgment, and that's the right thing to do? Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not missing something because, Candace be putting it out there. I don't want her to be, saying, hey, Jay Witt at the Jay Witt podcast is misrepresenting me. I just want to make sure I understand.
So this is like early 90s, a nice little beach community in Orange County. And I get accused of a crime that I did not commit. It's a falsely accused. It's an underage girl thing. And the premise of the case is there's a guy running around asking people about a lost cat. And this happens 15, 20 times over the course of 6-8 months, and the whole town is getting in an uproar over it. So they bring this girl, and they film an interview. After I got involved in this whole thing, we didn't know this was part of the thing. They just spring this in trial. And it's this interview where the kid doesn't care what she's saying. She's not upset. She thinks she's waiting for her mom in a dentist office. And then they just keep asking her leading question after leading question. And the kid's not giving them what they want. Eventually, they get her to say that there was some inappropriate touching on that. She sort of says it, sort of denies it, but that's all they needed. Now they can go out and arrest somebody. And they obviously don't care who they arrest. And the cops had lined up like 16 different guys of a certain look or whatever. And some of us, I was one of them, were under surveillance. And so they had pictures of us. And they got enough people to say, that looks like the guy. So they went and got me. Then they come over to my place with the search. They bring me in the search warrant over to my place. And they have 17 specific items that they're looking for. They get 11 of them, which sounds kind of bad until you read what it is. I get arrested. So they throw me in jail, and the next day you're supposed to get a hearing for bail.
Let's pause for a second. So they throw you in jail. The next day you get a hearing for bail.
They're nice enough to do it on, okay,
How long ago was this?
like 28 years. 28 years ago.
Yeah,
Oh.
28 years ago. All right, go ahead.
So I'm just saying some of these details because this whole thing is a total sham. My lawyer comes to me and goes, they say they have footprints and forensic evidence, footprints and a palm print of yours that they lifted from a scene, and they want to cut a deal with you. And they want to see if you want to do a plea bargain before we get to a pre-trial hearing. Jury comes back guilty, unbelievably guilty, and I wind up they give me an 8-year sentence, didn't have a record, so I did 4 years to change. So I did 1,536 days for a crime that I didn't commit. It actually gets worse. So you get an appeals process, and there's a free process. So they take the 3 main issues they can find that are breaking the law or violating your rights, and they submit it. So the appellate court reads it, and they say, yes, we agree. They broke the law twice out of the 3 points, and they violated your rights, but we don't see how it affected the outcome of the case. Dismissed. Wife divorced me right before I got out. So it's my ex-wife, best friend, and she goes, Tom, I got to talk to you. You got convicted and you went away, and your wife was dating your lawyer. And I'm like, dating the public defender? How do you know this? And she told me. So what incentive does the lawyer have to get me acquitted when he's after my wife? And he gets her.
So it's just all one big conspiracy that involved 2 counties, neighborhoods filled with parents and children. A witness who still to this day remembers and emailed me to remind me about this, people who posted and said this is absurd and brought it forward into Rob's church and said it's absurd that you are allowing him.
You know what? I'm sorry. I'm not going to go back. Maybe I'll go back and look at that email. Everything in that email can be extrapolated from that article that we just read, because I found 2 other articles as well as that interview. I'm not 100% certain if somebody wanted to be disingenuous and emailed Candace and tell her that and put themselves in that position, because the records are sealed, so you'll never know that this person was or wasn't actually involved in the case because they were children. I'm going to go on a limb. I think she's getting played. Now, granted, I think Rob McCoy is 100% wrong for trying to placard this guy. I think he has a lot of baggage. He doesn't need to be in a situation that even remotely comes around children. I mean, at best, I'm sorry. I think for the protection of the flock, for protecting your community, a pastor shouldn't put this man anywhere near it. Not saying he's not repentant, not saying that God hasn't forgiven him, but just because it's going to cause more problems. And Rob McCoy saw that. So I do think that was the wrong thing to do with that, to try to, clean his record and such like that, whether he's guilty or not. I could still believe he's as innocent as today is Thursday. You still cannot be, because of somebody does a Google search, they're going to see you, bada boom, bada bing, we got problems. So we're going to keep you away from it. You can help in some other ways, find some other ways to help make him a blessing to the community, but he does not need to be around there. That's just it. I think that's the right thing to do for the sanity. And again, not saying that people's motives are not wrong. He's a this, but also I don't see that he's a registered SA. So if he's not a registered SA, I do think that there's a difference also, because he doesn't have to register. So he could be around families. And I know that sounds wrong. So maybe Rob thought that. Maybe that's what Rob was thinking. But let's let Candace tease it out, because she knows everything.
Him to be around youth, despite his record. Also, his ex-wife and the appellate court. Everyone just wanted to get this conviction. Despite the fact that the cops, as he said, found a footprint, a palm print, plus 11 out of 17 items that they were looking for in his home. You are free to pursue that conversation in its entirety. Like, we're trying to include as much as we can for the sake of this podcast without going too long. It's just incredible, okay? The person who took the stand still remembers and emailed me, but somehow he's the victim, and Rob wants that to come across. He's annoyed that this has come up, right? Now, that becomes even more interesting when put into the context of the fact that Calvary Chapel, full stop, has a long history of claims of intentionally putting pedophiles in positions of power, giving them access to children. And I'm not talking about...
Ooh, y'all put a pot called the kettle black in the chat. Ooh wee. Candace, now you know you wrong for that. Girl, you know you wrong for that. Hello, pot. My name is Kettle. Girl, you know you need to stop the foolishness. Oh my gosh. You know you need to stop. That one right there is going to get clipped to high heavens. No, I don't even rock with Calvary Chapel. Ma'am, you know good. And I think somebody said it right here. Like, where's the proof? Like, where's the proof of what you just said right there? Because she just found out about Calvary Chapel about 3 weeks ago at Tops, right? She didn't know anything about Calvary Chapel before. She literally said that. But now all of a sudden she knows they got a long history. Girl, you know, y'all put pot called kettle black in the chat.
Institutions get big, okay? Like right now, if you even looked within public schools, you could find tons of instances, especially of like these young female teachers that go after high school kids, right?
What about, okay, Candace done violated my rule, y'all. I said I'm not going to bring up other things. Candace, now ma'am, are you really going to say that there are more assaults happening in public school than in the Catholic Church? Is that what you want us to believe? Is that, so you jump from Calvary Chapel to public education, but you just jump over the gigantic Mount Everest called the Catholic Church. Ma'am, oh my ma'am. All the ma'ams in Ma'amville, what in the world? That's how you know that. But see, this is what I'm talking about. Sin makes you stupid. And you know Candace is mad at Rob McCoy. Something he's done, something has really ticked her off. Because she's going hard and strong. She is dragging this man in on SA charges. She dragging this man into military psyops and all of this kind of fools. What did Rob McCoy do to her? We need to find out, Rob, what did you do to this woman? Did you take her parking spot at Chick-fil-A? What did you do to her, man? Rob, come clean. If y'all know Rob McCoy, tell him to come on up here to the front of the church. He needs to come clean. What did you do to Candy? Did you take the last bag of M&Ms at the grocery store she was trying to get? What did you do to her? Rob, bro, we need to talk, man. We need to talk, Rob.
I'm talking about how would you feel if you kept learning that it was the principal at a school? Like it kept being the principal of a school. This is by no means an exhaustive list, just to be clear, but I'm going to just tell you like a few of these, right? Florida Calvary Chapel in Pompano Beach. The founder was a pastor named Rob Coy, not McCoy, to be clear, Rob Coy, who was a former Las Vegas casino entertainment director turned religious leader for one of the Florida's biggest mega churches. And then he got accused of molesting a 4-year-old girl. Calvary Chapel of Woodlands. In 2024, the lead pastor was arrested after a sting operation into online sex abuse against children. Calvary Chapel Cary, the lead pastor, resigned amid allegations of incest with his own son, bullying, drug addiction, and the misuse of funds. Calvary Chapel in Orange County, the lead pastor named Mission Viejo was convicted of abusing 2 girls. Calvary Chapel Solid Rock, that's in Minnesota. Jason James Taylor was the lead pastor it's on the border of Wisconsin, by the way. He was among 6 people who were arrested following a solicitation of minors. It was a sting operation that was led by Minnesota's Human Trafficking Investigators Task Force. Then in Santa Ana, California, there's a fellowship of Calvary Chapels, which includes Idaho, the North County Chapel in Post Falls, Idaho. They're currently being sued by victims who accuse the church of intentionally concealing a known sexual predator in their midst. They knew his history. They hired him anyways, Anthony Iglesias, and he's currently serving time. He was found guilty in Idaho State Correctional Facility for his crimes. The lawsuit alleges that when the victim's parents went to the lead pastor, Reverend Robert Davis, to discuss their son's sexual abuse, Davis acknowledged to them, and again, this is what their lawsuit is alleging, that he knew of Iglesias' history. And he stated words to the effect of, yeah, we knew. That's why we pulled him out of Thailand. Now, Thailand, by the way, was some orphanage program that they were running. Orphanages everywhere. For some reason, these churches are getting involved in orphanages. And then there's a lot of these abuse scandals. Now, there's also
Y'all,
a former Calvary.
this woman is okay. Okay, I'm gonna go back again. I don't think Candace even goes to church. I don't even think she even goes to church, y'all. I'm gonna just go there. I'm gonna just say it. My name is Jason, dearworkc@gmail.com. I don't even think Candace even goes to church. How do you not know? Again, there's no way you're gonna convince me. This is a hit piece, not only on Rob McCoy. I take it back now. It's not Rob McCoy. It is the actual entity of the Christian church. That is it. The Protestant church is who's her enemy. She's using Rob McCoy as a surrogate for her attack. So this is a proxy war against Christ's church without saying she's at war with Protestants. That's what it is. You don't like it. It's okay. That don't mean I'm not right. Let's go.
Chapel pastor in Virginia who pled guilty to child sex abuse. The former Calvary pastor's name was Doug DeAndrea. He is currently serving time in jail in Virginia on multiple charges related to child sex abuse. There's the Calvary Chapel in Fort Lauderdale in 2019. This is not the lead pastor, but an employee who was arrested after authorities say they found numerous downloaded images and videos of child pornography in his home computer. There is the Calvary Chapel in North Thurston, Oregon, and this one's a doozy, okay? The lead pastor was this guy, Jeffrey Keon Ziz. He confessed to sexual misconduct, which involved his 3 daughters over a period of 2 years. The incestuous abuse started when the daughter was 11. He went to prison for 11 months, and then when he got out, he murdered an 80-year-old and poured concrete, 82-year-old, and then he was supposed to be her handyman, and then he murdered her and poured concrete over her body to hide the body, okay? Again, we're not even scratching the surface here. This is by no means a definitive list. I could go on, but I have to tell you that this does not feel organic to me, okay? Yes, institutions are corruptible, churches are corruptible, but this feels to me like something a bit more sinister and a bit more organized. It makes me think of the notorious guy, you know, I've covered this in the past. It's why I did not cover the Diddy case. Everyone thought he was insane. Remember, he shot up the Trump Miami Doral. He didn't kill anyone. But then when he sat down, he said the feds are running a cartel operation. And when people get into trouble, this is what he alleged before anybody knew anything about Diddy. He said, I was one of Diddy's sex slaves. And he said, I was Diddy and Cassie's sex slaves. Cassie then verified on the stand that she knew who this man was, and that he had been invited to these parties. And he said, the feds, you get into trouble. And then suddenly, if you want to stay out of prison, you're now working for us. And he said that he was alleging that they run drugs, right? That they blackmail certain people and they run drugs. Something that Kanye also said, an episode that's virtually impossible to find online because it was during his cancellation, that he knew, again, this was before Diddy got into trouble, that Diddy had been blackmailed by the feds. And that part of his deal was that he had to keep certain other people in line like Kanye. So this theme is kind of coming up when you start to see people who have been not just accused of crimes, but convicted of crimes, and they wind up in positions of power or in positions of extreme wealth. I think it's pretty fair for us to ask questions about how that is happening. And now, flipping back to moving from the Diddy into
this chick done brought y'all. This chick done got now Diddy. She apologizing for Diddy. She done drug. And yes, next, you're right. You're right on my notes. Next is going to be Trump. You know it's coming. This woman is insufferable. Wow. Yeah, I agree with you. She's going to, she probably stands there. She probably does defend Diddy. Let's just get done, Jason. Let it go.
Situations here. Flipping back to Rob McCoy, that's not the only scandal that he's been involved in. He's been involved in a few scandals, right? There was also a Potter's Field scandal, and this is kind of really relevant to leading up to what he's doing now with Turning Point USA. I would say it's very relevant. Potter's Field is an area up in Whitefish, Montana, and the Calvary Church Association funded a ministry which came to be known as Potter's Fields Ministries. Right up there, they have a hunting ground. They have a camp for kids. They have a student program known as Ignite. They even have like a burger chain. I mean, a lot of money was flowing up there. And in 2019, the ministry came under a scandal with reports of financial abuse, psychological abuse. Essentially, the Calvary Chapel church members were funding the ministry, believing that money was going to help and feed and clothe children in Uganda, in Cambodia, in Costa Rica, in Guatemala. But apparently it wasn't actually going there, okay? They thought their money was going to train students that were going to become missionaries worldwide, but no one really exactly knew where the money was going. And this is interesting because they specifically ran a student program called Ignite. And one of those students wound up blowing the whistle on what she alleges was intentional financial fraud. That student's name was Kenzie Kinney. Okay, she handled Potter's Field's finances. And here is what she said verbatim about how this not-for-profit would pretend that they were feeding tons of kids worldwide, but actually they were having her engage in fraudulent activity, allegedly. She said, quote, "This would be a very high guesstimate of how many kids were actually in this program. I would say maybe like 500, and that would be between all 5 countries," Kinney said. Kinney added that the Rosells, that's the family that was running this program, would show videos with hundreds of children being fed during their presentations in order to solicit donations from Calvary church members, but that those images were from infrequent, larger pastor conferences. She remembered working with about 20 kids on a weekly basis during her time in the program. She also said that Potter's Field workers were told to Photoshop old letters from kids in the program, with the altered letters being sent out to donors. She said, quote, "We would always have to cut off the dates so that they wouldn't know how old the photos were. Then we'd just photocopy hundreds of them and then just trifold them all and mail them out, because we mail out these little things like, thanks again for your support. And here is, a thing from your prayer child. They wrote you a letter." Amidst the scandal, Potter's Field's ministry announced that they were shutting down. They shut down in 2019, and they brought in Pastor Rob McCoy as a CFO to help steer the ship of their finances. And by steering the ship, I mean that the money was transferred into his church. That was done above board. They notified the people that was what was going to happen with the finances. But it becomes increasingly interesting when I keep insisting to you guys that there was something about Turning Point USA Faith that to me reads like an infiltration of sorts, okay? That is what it looks like to me. Something dramatically changed. The organization that was about free markets and capitalism suddenly became faith. And you have these pastors, and they feel sleazy to me. They just do, okay? They're not honest. We have caught Rob McCoy in multiple lies, so I don't ship him as a person that you would want stewarding your faith. And when you add in the fact that Calvary Chapel was the chief offender, okay? These churches, when they were all getting on stage for Operation Mocking Pastor, where they were all saying the same thing about me and Tucker Carlson, they were the number 1 offenders.
I told you. She's upset because they called her out. And maybe Rob McCoy maybe he finds himself in some really bad decision making. And he really does make some bad decisions. It's possible. That doesn't mean that he's involved in this deletion of Charlie Kirk. It don't mean that any of that. It doesn't mean that anything that she's saying is true. Oh, I'm sorry. Anything that's going on around Charlie Kirk is true. Rob McCoy, maybe he is. Maybe he's just out here trying to do the most. He's trying to be CEO pastor and not a local pastor. Okay. I mean, that's fine. I just want the same smoke for the Catholic Church, Candace. That's all I want. I want the same energy, the same veracity. Let's go.
I am not kidding. You start to ask yourself, what is guiding the Calvary Chapel, right? What is behind this? Do you really think this is all just accidental? Their obsession with Christian Zionism, Jack Hibbs among them. We mentioned him yesterday, his brother Butch Hibbs, who was just everywhere before and after Charlie's assassination. There's like footage of him, which I don't think we have for today. I think we did pull it, but I didn't ask you to pull it for right now. And you ask yourself, I got emails from people saying that Pastor Hibbs, Jack Hibbs, has gone like mask down. He seems to be coming undone. He's hosting 5 a.m. calls against me and Tucker Carlson, and they're realizing, am I in a church or did I sign up for something completely different? The history, the CIA implications of who exactly started the Calvary Chapel, which kind of became the offshoot of the hippies movement. Chuck Smith is his name. CIA character that was close to him. The implications here, when you look at all of the military characters that are involved, really have me asking a lot of questions. You want to know who was also asking a lot of questions? Charlie Kirk was asking a lot of questions towards the end of his life, right? He was asking questions, hitting hard about Jeffrey Epstein on his show. He was exasperated at one point, saying, basically, I've covered this, I'm upset about this, and you could sense that from high up, he was being told to stop speaking about Jeffrey Epstein, and he was pushing back on that. He then tells Tucker Carlson to go max against Jeffrey Epstein. For whatever reason, this guy, similar to these
iPhone
characters,
Max.
had a history. He had been convicted, and yet he was still welcomed into every circle. He still is welcome into every circle. You guys still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? We're now getting these emails, and it only further implicates this administration in an astounding cover-up. All of this, again, the truest victims being the children, okay? We are a nation
That is crazy
that
work.
is ruled by perverts. We are. We just are. And we're not the only nation, by the way. We're not the only nation. I would almost say the entire web of Western civilization seems to be ruled by perverts. That's the common thread between my investigations into Brigitte Macron and his strange relationship with Emmanuel Macron, the Fed level cover-up, which includes a never-before-seen lawsuit, which is just meant to be propagandist, to make people think there's nothing here, which should let you know that everything is here. You start to peel the layer of the onion into our Epstein series that we have done, and it looks like they created Hollywood and fashion and movies as a means to traffic individuals, right? No one would blink twice if you're trafficking individuals. A bunch of women come in and they're in part of a fashion campaign, a part of fashion shows. Jeffrey Epstein had his financial tentacles involved in modeling agencies, right? He was involved in the movie agencies. Anywhere that you could cast people, that's where his tentacles were. And I'm not feeling good about these churches. I got to tell you that right now. I'm not feeling good about all of the Christian Zios that they are sending out, defend, to say, don't look anywhere. Don't pay attention to anything Candace is saying. I know she's presenting facts, but let's just focus on her dream. Trying to make her like a crazy person. Something very sinister.
We're not
is going
trying to
on,
make you look
and
crazy.
I'm telling you that
We're not trying to make you look crazy, Candace. Trust me. Nobody's trying. Nobody's trying. Yo, this is crazy work. Man, I just want the same energy when you call out the Roman Catholic Church, Candace. That's what I want.
Charlie Kirk case is like the undoing of everything. We are
undoing of
really starting to
everything.
wake up to how things work. And I think that Charlie did not appreciate exactly how things were working, not just in the Epstein case, right? Not just in Israel and its long arm across the world. I told you Charlie was hitting at the Ukraine stuff. That was a part of my timeline. That's when you really start to see Turning Point Faith ratchet up, is when Charlie is going.
Where's the evidence that Charlie was actually communicating with you, Candace? Like, where is it? Where's the phone log of Charlie calling you? The text message, the DMs, the emails. Where is this? Because we would love, I think most of us would probably be convinced if you could show us some hard proof evidence, show us the Verizon phone logs from Verizon that show that Charlie Kirk was calling you and y'all had a 2-hour phone conversation every Tuesday. That would be compelling. That would maybe sway people. But just the fact that we're just supposed to trust you because you're talking loud and fast in your basement, ma'am, it's not going to happen. It's going to keep getting worse.
Day in and day out, speaking about what goes on in Ukraine, speaking about the trafficking of kids in Ukraine. He's just tweeting every day about that stuff. And then poof, Turning Point Faith seems to just kind of take off like in a way that I've never seen, right? All of these characters who have very shady backgrounds, including Sean Foyt. There's like an article from September 30th talking about the mismanagement of funds, accusing him of the mismanagement of funds. All of a sudden, we're supposed to go, oh, well, you know, this is clearly a church mission. So if you don't, you know, support Turning Point Faith, especially given this terrible thing that they're going through, these were his real friends, and there's something wrong with you. You're not godly, right? It's godly to accept the Fed narrative. It's godly to suspend your rational thinking and to just assume that all of these churches, which have way too many military men who come from a long line of powerful military families, they really are just about the mission, right? They're all just really good people, and that bad things continue to happen to. I don't like it, you guys. I don't like it at all.
I don't like
This
it.
freaks. It's all coming together right now. You're starting to see. Now we know what exactly, which I'm going to get into in more detail tomorrow, the Trump administration seems to have been hiding these emails. They're not good. Okay? They are completely indefensible, but I already told you, I was done with MAGA at the moment he looked us in the face and he said, what files, right? What are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Pam Bondi said it was a Democrat hoax. No, I think the entire nation has been hoaxed by Republicans and Democrats, and there are pervert elites that sit at the top. That's my suspicion. We'll take a quick break and come back in a second.
Woo, y'all.
All right, you guys. I think a lot of people are feeling especially courageous right now. I feel like a lot of us are.
All right, so I don't know what we just experienced. I don't even understand. But I know one thing. The best live chat on the internet is the best, and I mean the best. Thank you so very much, Phantom, for the $2. Says this. Turek was right on the money. He's 100% correct. I agree. No lie detective from Frank Turek. And I don't think Frank Turek is going to come on our show. So that's kind of a waste of her time to even flex like that. Slayer comes up in with the 5. In her mind, she has plenty of proof, but it crumbles upon questioning, like the CNN interview. She is deceiving and being deceived. Pray for her. Thank you so much for the $5 super and a very, very wise statement there for sure. Phantom coming back around says this. She don't want that smoke. Turek been here 30 years plus, and he is not going to move. I agree. That would be a very, I'd drop that $2 to watch that. Thank you so much for that. Eliza says this with the $2. She is an embarrassment to the Catholic Church. I mean, we don't want her. Presbyterians don't want her. I'm going to go on a limb as a Baptist and Methodist and Episcopalians and people. Nobody wants her. Nobody. Shout out right here. Thank you so much. 3217 with the $5 super. Event was free. Entire world invited. She was not there. Oh, you talking about, yes, talking about Charlie Kirk's funeral, right? I think she wanted to be invited to be on stage. But even in that, I agree with you 100%. She could have gone. She said she wasn't going. It wasn't safe for her. She was going to listen. She was going to go listen to Ye and all that kind of stuff. It's not anybody else's choice outside of Erica. And I think you're speaking directly to Phantom with the $2 super. I think you're speaking directly about how the case is going forward and giving information. And I agree with you. Like, or we're talking about TPUSA, like how she's tacitly blaming TPUSA for this. But let's keep it going. Eliza says this. So we're not going to talk about the abuse by priests? Nope. Everything she talked about, I've found articles that absolutely eviscerate her argumentation. But let's keep it going. Thank you so much for that. And Phantom coming around the block again. Candace, how about those altar boys globally? You know? Come on. Vanessa says this. Is Candy Farmer. Don't question the detective. Look, the detective is defective. Okay? Let's keep it 100. All right? Thank you so much, Captain Jacks, for the $5. If this occurred during the 1980s, you're talking about the guy that assaulted the kids in California, the interviewers were very leading. They pushed for disclosures. I would have to see the case to see the case to know for sure. And I agree with you. Thank you so much. Again, if the person if he has that type of background, he maybe doesn't need to be involved with families. I think that's super simple. I think if that's what Rob McCoy was trying to do, I disagree with him on that for sure. Thank you so much. And with the $5 supers comes real justice with the free with the truth. I just read the post. The words group home and home group were swapped. It was a Bible study in their church. It wasn't in homes of the church. See, that's what we're saying. Thank you so much for that. That is different. That is different. If they're doing Bible study at church, then like even in that, yeah. See that's a different. If he's doing men's Bible study, that's different. That's a whole different than going to people's houses. Shout out. Thank you so much for that. Very keen observation. What do you got, Jax? You're right. Any suspicion, however slight, don't allow them to be around kiddos, right? And if what real justice is saying here, then that person probably wasn't going to be around kids. He might have been at the church doing Bible study in the fellowship hall. That is a totally different situation. Totally different. Thank you so much for that, Captain Jax. I appreciate you. Calvary Chapel got nothing on Roman Catholics. I'm like, really? Like, hey, hold on now, chick. Stay in your own lane. Pause. Get in your lane. Because she talking like there ain't nothing wrong with, like, there's been no scandals in Catholicism. Like, ma'am, come on now. Get real. But I don't think she knows. Maybe she doesn't know because I don't think she's a member of a church. Maybe it's because us priests usually go for boys. The priests usually go for boys. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Thank you, Vanessa, with the $2 super. I appreciate it. I have a feeling Rob got Candy fired. It's possible. I don't know. That's a good question, though. Thank you for the $2. Phantom says this again with the $2. Calvary Chapel has centuries to catch up with Roman Catholicism. You're right there. Keeping it moving, forever blossoming. Please forgive me. With the $2 says this. As Charlie's BF, didn't she already know Frank and Rob? That's a good question. That's what I'm saying. We need more information. Frank definitely has been around Charlie. I'm thinking that these guys, that Frank and Rob McCoy and others came in after Candace moved on. That's what I'm thinking. But I could be wrong. I don't know the timeline, but that's an excellent question. I like it. Keeping it going with Phantom around that block. FBI typically flip other criminals to catch big ones. Why is that a surprise? Why does she move like she doesn't know that? Oh, because she doesn't. Slayer comes in with that 5, says this. She said on Monday we were going to hear about the planes on Wednesday, and we still haven't. See, you actually remember that. I'm waiting for this financial information she's alleged she's going to drop. Thank you so much for the 5. And Captain Jax comes around. Charlie brought faith into every response he made. I think he would be happy TPUSA faith was taking off. I don't see why. Like, why is there a problem? Because she doesn't want faith to be a part of this. She wants it to remain a secular entity, a political entity, and not have any kind of faith-based Christian values pushed at all. That's why I think that her and Charlie broke up. I think the reason he broke up the band is he realized that this woman is not a Christian. I see no other reason around it. Thank you, Vanessa, with the 2. She reads way too many conspiracy books. That's all she does in her book club is conspiracy books. And keeps it going. Thank you, Jalen, with the $2. Says this, a hateful attack on faith is what we saw. That's exactly what we saw. Absolutely. And what do we have here? Thank you, Winnie. Isn't Candace Owens' husband via association with Tate? I mean, following this woman's logic, the fact that her husband's best friend is Andrew Tate, what are we doing? What are we doing? And you've interviewed Andrew Tate. You've interviewed your husband. You're not giving y'all the same smoke that you gave Rob McCoy. I'm just saying. That's a great point. Thank you, Irene, over there in Brit. I appreciate you. She says this. She's pushing for an appearance on The View, like Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. Well, not one bit. Eliza says this. There were 4,392 priests and deacons in the U.S. Okay. Are you talking about, give me a little bit more context on that one. But thank you so much for that $2 super. I appreciate it. Radiant Shade with the $10 says this: I appreciate your podcast and look forward to your commentary. Well, bless you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the $10. Thank you, friend. What is it Ween? I always see it. I want to say Queen. It looks like Queen because it's got the ad in front of it. But I know that $20 super. I want to say thank you so much. She says, Mr. Whitaker, you made this fun watching the crazy. Otherwise, I would not watch really. When she does the creepy voice, that's the demon speaking. Thank you for the $20 super. And I'm right there with you, man. She says some wild stuff. But why? You got to wonder, like, what's the purpose of attacking the church like that? Like, what's the purpose of and attacking people because you disagree with them? Like, that makes no sense. Tracy, thank you so much for the very kind super right here. No question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Oh, and then I got a super sticker from you as well. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, love. Now, Black Sigma says this, coming in with the 5, always bringing wisdom. Now that Candace mentioned Diddy, it may come as a shock to your audience, but Diddy is innocent on all charges based on the transcript of the trial. I think, I hate to say it, but I think I know what you're talking about. I didn't want to get into the Diddy trial because I kept getting terms of service strikes from YouTube. That's why I didn't do it. And I don't know why they wouldn't give me any more information about what I could say, what I couldn't say. I was spelling things. I was editing things. Anyway, I think I know what you're talking about. And yeah, I do believe I've heard some degree of that Diddy wasn't, again, the case was not as lockstep as people thought it was. And people thought when he got arrested, it was going to be one way, but it really didn't go the way he wanted it. You know what? Before Candace goes, because I don't think y'all really fully understand how not a good person Candace is. Okay. So we're going to come back and we'll finish up the show. I promise. But I just want to give you an opportunity to see just how much of a not a good person Candace Owens is. Now, in the chat, if you saw the Allie Beth Stuckey video, either the one that I did or you just saw it directly on her channel, can you put green hearts in the chat if you saw that? Okay, see some yeses. Of course, I saw it because I did a video on it. All right. Okay. Okay, appreciate you. Okay, lots. Okay, so they saw it. Okay, and I think the overall general consensus, I think I speak on behalf of the best live chat on the internet. Most people thought that Allie Beth was being very respectful and kind. Not really. I don't think she called into question Candace's Christianity, unlike myself. I say that Candace is not a Christian. I say that emphatically. I'll stand on that. But I think Allie was, she gave her a lot of grace. Is that fair? Okay. I think that's fair. Okay. And I thought she was respectful. Now, I told you all, I didn't think that Candace was going to address Allie Beth Stuckey. And you all, I have to put my hat in my hand and say, I was wrong. Let me show you. So this is on the old Twitter space, on the old Twitter. And this woman, let me read Carrie Smith. Shout out to Carrie Smith, deprogram. Someone told me there's no way Candace would attack Allie Beth for that kind, calm, and biblical reproach because it would make her look so bad. Narcissists are not like normal people. They don't experience shame. They often don't know how they look to normal people. And I did not grab the whole clip. I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize that. My bad. I'll go find it and pull up the whole thing. Hold on real quick. Oh my gosh, it's long. Let me pull it in. It's long. Hey, Carrie be talking. I didn't realize that. Let me pull it in. All right, so we can get the full context of this before we read it. They often don't know how they look to normal people. I don't think they're capable of humility or self-reflection. They don't know how to pump the brakes, and they can't resist breathing fire, as she claims to do. When they experience narcissistic injury, their fragile and oversized egos won't allow it. Come on. Is that not what we've been talking about all night? They just use the same tactics that have usually worked for them. In this case, character assassination, reputational injury, projection, DARVO. I forgot what DARVO stands for. deflect, and it stands for something, etc. When these tactics stop working as well, you'll see them go through what's called decomposition, where they start to flail out. That's usually the point at which people they previously fooled say, "Hey, what happened to her?" And so here's a comment from Candace Owens. This brand of fake Christianity has to end. Everyone saw you make multiple stories, tweets, and videos referencing me for weeks. Your implications were not kind and they are not Christian. Then when I finally respond, you pretend you're some injured bird who had to dig deep into the wells of her faith to find the right scripture to guide her. No, just stop. This is a bad act. All right. So everybody who said that she was not going to respond to Allie Beth, we were wrong. We were wrong. This woman is deplorable. But shout out to Carrie Smith, excellent content creator. Maybe I'll have her come on the show one day because she seems to have a really good grasp of this. That might be fun. We'll have to let Carrie Smith deprogram know that she can come on over here, and we'll have her come on and maybe talk about what she knows and maybe watch a video together. All right, let's get done with this, y'all. Let's go. It's muted.
What they are protecting, but if you don't see that it has gone masked down, the people who won't even speak about Bibi Netanyahu's crimes against humanity, he's being tried for crimes against humanity, all somehow have the energy to come for Candace Owens, right? To come for Candace Owens and to try to paint her as a crazy person because she had a dream. And I'm sticking with the dream. I'm sticking with the dream. Charlie was betrayed. He continues to be betrayed every single day, including by these same Christian Zionists that he platformed throughout his entire career, who apparently don't have a single question about any of the BS that we've heard. I also want to say to you guys, I know that I promised you we would discuss the Egyptian planes. What we have discovered is actually so big that I had to go through the proper channels to get this information to government first. And that was very tricky because I don't know who we can trust in government, right? It kind of feels like the government is implicated in trying to stop us from getting the truth about what happened on that day. So I had to be very careful, and I had to kind of back wheel and deal and try to figure out who the good guys were. And long story short, we're pausing that until tomorrow because I wanted to give some people a little bit more time on that. So I will have that for you tomorrow. Another element of this, by the way, as we talk about the I don't know, what is very clearly a psychological operation. They all have the same talking points. They're all using different emotionally manipulative tactics. So, oh, you can't question this because, like, he has a widow and kids, and it'd be so harmful to try to figure out who killed him. Just like on its face, that is such a nonsense. First and foremost, whenever there is a murder, full stop, the first people that you should be questioning is there a financial incentive? Is there a financial incentive? Yes, this is an $80 million company. Did people close to him? Do you have friends that were jealous? Was he in any fights? This is such a normal quest. It is completely normal. If anybody watch IDTV, it's come on, what are we talking about, right? This is such a normal thing to consider. And they are trying to pretend that natural incursion is just not palatable right now. We just need you guys to buy a t-shirt. We need you to buy a freedom t-shirt and just keep this organization going, even though it seems to have a lot of very questionable characters.
I don't think anybody's saying that she can't ask questions now. I don't think anybody's saying that. Now, and now mind you, I could be wrong. I don't think anybody's saying now that you can't ask questions. I think the problem is, as this one said right there, catching it. This behavior is not normal, Candace. What you're doing is not normal. It's not that you can't ask questions. It's just what you're doing is just not, it doesn't even make sense. That's the problem. But no, I don't think anybody's saying that. Maybe somebody is still saying it. But I don't think anybody is saying that. They did say that before, like before the memorial. Can you at least let the man be buried? Can you let them get a little bit of wind under their sails and then you can start critiquing them? I don't think anybody's saying that. But let her go because, she says it.
Involved. It's a bit ridiculous. I'm very awake to, and I think you guys are as well, to these psychological tactics. And I've often discussed how in America, it is the media that intentionally fosters this sort of a culture. And in some regard, it's a Judas culture, right? There is a psychology that has manifested where people are encouraged to sell out their friends and even their family members in order to spare or advance themselves or to advance their careers.
Y'all, she did not, this woman did not just say that. She did not just say that people have an incentive to sell out their family and friends to advance their career or for monetary gain. She did not say that. Somebody, I'm sorry. This has got to be AI. I've never believed that I done been hacked. This is some AI. This cannot be. This woman did not say that. Get done, Jason. Just get done.
That's today's version, in my view, of the 30 pieces of silver, right? That's what you see playing out on the world stage when someone tries to struggle session a person into making a statement against one of their friends. Candace, you're better than Kanye. You have your whole life ahead of you. You'll have more of a future if you just say this one thing. Call him Adolf Hitler. Call him an anti-Semite. No, thank you. I said no. Charlie, Candace is heading into a direction that's only going to hinder you. We demand as donors that you do not let her speak at AmFest. She's just a bad person. You got to make a statement against her. Charlie said no. Megyn Kelly,
Where's this coming from, though? Where's your evidence? You're just saying it. And a lot of this is projection. I just saw that. I saw somebody say it's projection. A lot of this, there it is right there. Projection. Shout out for sure, Donnie. I mean, you're literally doing this in 4K. Those are some good cameras y'all got. In 4K, we're watching you do this.
career or it's Tucker Carlson. You decide, right? I'm your friend. I just want to help you. Tucker Carlson, he's really going a bad way. She said no. This is how it goes. It just made me so happy yesterday. Totally just was hyped. Especially, I think we all feel this way when you see this psychology employed and someone just completely annihilates it immediately. And Tucker did just that yesterday, or at least yesterday is when the clip went live. He completely embarrassed this English reporter who was effectively playing this game with him, asking Tucker to condemn me live on his show. Take a listen to this awesome clip.
Your good friend Candace Owens has been putting out some pretty wacko stuff, I would say, would be my opinion on the death of Charlie. It's not helpful, is it, that, you know, at that time of an incredible national upheaval, and obviously personal and familial family tragedy, to have someone like that picking apart the argument and suggesting that there are darker forces at play here that the US government have a hand in covering up. It just, can you see why people get upset by that and would like you perhaps to sort of distance yourself from that sort of thing?
Pretty funny. So am I going to attack Candace Owens because you
I'm
think
not asking you to attack. I'm not asking you to attack her.
Probably not going to do that, Harry.
No,
Probably not going to do that. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt as a foreigner of not understanding our politics, but the whole ritual of, you know, this person said something I don't like. In order to be a good person, you must denounce this person. Obviously, I would die before I played along with that. I don't know anyone who's saying that who has the moral authority to compel me. I don't know anyone saying that it was any moral authority at all. And I would say broadly, not about Candace, comma, whom I love, comma, but about all people. Getting to the truth is the most important thing. I've devoted my life to it. I haven't always done a very good job at all, but it still remains to this day my animating motive. I want to know what the truth is. Again, I don't always get there. I often usually don't get there, but I want to be the guy who cares what's true. A. B, if you're telling me that because the U.S. government or some law enforcement agency issues a statement that doesn't even make sense, that I'm required somehow morally to accept that and not ask any questions, like, can you hear yourself? I mean, what are you saying?
It's just perfection. It's just literal perfection. What are you doing? Stop trying to gaslight us. You are a part of exactly what we need to defeat. You are a part of the establishment, this organ of people who use psychological tactics to try to make us think we are crazy for not accepting something that just makes no rational sense.
That's very interesting. And we've talked about this before. When Candace starts inserting plural pronouns, we, our, us, it's just interesting. I don't think every person that follows after Candace is crazy. I think Candace is crazy. I think Candace is stir-fried, hard-boiled crazy. That's it. End of the day, full stop. So I don't think it's funny that she tried to make it like this whole we thing. No, ma'am, it's you. Stick with you. We think you are crazy. We don't trust you. So, and nobody's ever said that you can't ask questions. I think we've already exhausted that point to ad nauseum. So let's just finish up, Jason. I'm sleepy.
So this is just a bad time, and this is a wacko jacko. Everybody's crazy when you start questioning the feds. Suddenly they want to call you crazy. And Tucker just annihilates it instantly. He's like, get out of here. I don't know where you're from. Okay, I assume you're a foreigner and you think that this is how things work in America. And we're just going to accept the Fed slop because that's what we should do as polite citizens. No, get out of here. We want to know who killed Charlie Kirk because this story seems pretty dark. It seems pretty deep. And everyone that should be using their platforms to try to get to the bottom of what happened to him and asking similar questions is instead calling out Candace Owens and waiting for her to make a mistake so they can try to delegitimize every effort that she is making to get to the bottom of this thing. It just reeks. It reeks to high heaven. And so I absolutely adore Tucker for that. I adore him for just standing up for me. And obviously he's seasoned, so he sees right through it in the same way that I do. But that is the way forward. That is the way forward when people are trying this on you, trying to manipulate you using Bible verses like Allie did after she just ceded so much, essentially fundamentally called me a liar in her own way about various things. Is now.
So let me make sure I have it right. I got to make sure I got it right, y'all. Hold on. Let me make sure I got it right in the chat real quick. Get ready. Green hearts, get ready. I haven't told you yet. Allie Beth did not call her a liar. She did not say Candace Owens is a liar. Lady Farmer is a liar. A purveyor of lies is Candace. She said nothing like that. She gave a very gracious, very kind explanation about why we need to tread differently as Christians. But Candace impugned that as saying that she's a liar. Is that not almost 100% exactly what Ben Shapiro said? Is that not it? Green hearts in the chat if that's correct. Oh man, y'all don't know. Nobody disagrees. This is the part. Like I don't think this woman has even thought about what she's saying. I really truly think that she's just flowing. She's free flowing. I don't think she's even remotely aware of what she's saying. She's just saying words and just letting them go. This is exactly what Ben Shapiro said. So, and to disagree with the body language guy earlier, Jesus, you don't have to say something directly to imply it and for it to be insinuated from what you are saying. Because we just watched Candace do this. Okay. I'm just wondering.
Pretending she's
Just
like an
asking
injured
questions.
bird because I responded, and I responded nicely, but suddenly trying to tell you it's not biblical for you to pry into what's happened to the Charlie Kirk assassination case. This is just not biblical. Yeah, it's a complete nonsense. She did a video yesterday. I don't get dreams like Candace. We see what you're doing. It's petty. Now you're being petty Betty. If you want to get involved and look in this case, do it. If you don't, step aside. You are not required to respond to Candace Owens' content. That's actually not a requirement. You can keep doing your content, telling people that what you do is biblical while you ignore the glaring obvious crimes of Israel, which you refuse to ever denounce your support for. You know what I'm not doing? I'm not killing tens of thousands of children in Palestine and trying to legitimize it to my audience by telling them that somehow this is what God wants because it's right here in the Bible.
You know what? This is what I want y'all to do. Because we have to. I was called a cult leader the other day. The other day, I told you all to go by Carrie Smith's channel. Was it Carrie Smith? Is that her name? I apologize, Carrie Smith's channel, Deprogrammed, and, give her a shout out. And some people said that I was a cult leader by telling people to go do that, to go watch her video and drop a green heart in the chat. So this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my Thankful Thursday. And look, I'm only going to do this today, so don't abuse it. Send me 3 really good content creators that we need to promote and to push. They don't all have to be Christian, but I don't want anybody, we're not going to do heavy metal. I'm sorry, that's just not my jam. And I'm going to make a list. I'm going to do a Thankful Thursday rehash on tomorrow, Friday, just a community post, so everybody can go and support these good content creators. And because I think it's interesting that everybody that Candace promotes, everybody that Candace pushes out, usually support her, not support the mission, not support Christ, or not just putting out good content. They're good because they support her. Do you see how the disdain she has for the fact that Allie Beth does Bible studies and gives biblical exhortation to women? Isn't that weird that she has such disdain, almost spitting it out of her mouth? And I think it would really be the right thing to do for us to support good content creators. I dropped my email. Drop it in, shoot me an email. I'm not coming back to look at the chat. There's my email right there. And just going to do it today. But just give me 3 of them. And I think it would be good. Now, it might be a long list, though, so y'all got to commit. Y'all got to commit to doing it. But maybe we'll just go through and we'll just go and support a whole bunch of good content creators. And they don't have to agree with me. They don't have to be black Southern men that went to Morehouse. But they're doing something good, whether it be maybe they're talking about how to raise their family. Maybe they're car detailers. I don't know. But good content creators, and they don't have to rock with me. They don't have to be Presbyterian. I love my Baptist brothers and sisters. I love my Lutheran brothers and sisters. Episcopalians and Methodists, I get with y'all too. So they don't have to be Presbyterian. They don't have to be black. They don't even have to be in the United States. But I think what really we have to counter this by supporting those good content creators. So I'm going to put that ask out there just on the fly, and I'm probably going to regret it in about 10 minutes when I look at my email. I'm going to probably be like, what the heck was I thinking? Why did I do this to myself? As a matter of fact, let me look at my email now. Y'all, man, I love y'all people. I do love y'all. I already have 3. I love y'all, man. Okay. So just sending me 3, just 3 content creators that you think, hey, and there's a lot of them I already know. I know about Rue. I know about Officer Tatum. I know about April Chapman. I know about Rick Caldwell Apologetics. I know about a lot of those, but just maybe 3 that I don't know. And it's such of that nature. And that's going to be our consideration to help build the community. Because really, all she's doing is trying to destroy the community. And ultimately, of course, she'll fail. But I think the best thing we could do is to help build the community by finding out new good content creators. Oh, and by the way, how about content creators that really that have not hit? Oh, there we go. Wait, stop. Content creators who have not hit 1,000 subscribers. How about that? Because those content creators are not monetizable yet. How about that? How about we say, let's zero in on, because like Melissa Doherty and Culture Proof, I see Tatum in here, Peters, they already are well above their 1,000. So, and you can still throw them in there, sure. But how about you throw in some people that have not actually reached their monetization? They're not able to grow on their channel because they're less than 1,000. That would be super dope if we could say, hey, here's a list of 20 content creators that are not above 1,000 yet. If you don't know them, why don't you go check out what they're doing? If they earn it, go ahead and subscribe to them. At least give them a comment, at least give them a like. How about that? Is that reasonable? Because there's a lot of them that are not above, and I think it would be really great for us to be like, hey, we're going to use the collective motivation, the collective power of the J-Wit podcast to encourage and boost up some content creators that are not where they would like to be. How about that? Okay, that's that. Let's finish up with Candy because she's making me sleepy.
Bible. I don't know. That's so. I'm going to be done addressing her, but I just wanted to say that these are all manipulative tactics. Some of them more evil than others, but that's what's happening right now. And we have to just stay focused on solving what happened to Charlie Kirk. And the feds are not helping, maybe because Kash Patel is busy crying over his girlfriend. He really needs to believe that she likes him for him. I don't believe that. I actually don't accept that Alex Wilkins, who comes from a family of Freemasons and who's got a spotty background, nobody knows what she was doing in Switzerland, just loves him for him and was in the right place at the right time. By the way, I should mention
This has got to be the most ironic week possible in this show. This woman is dogging out Kash Patel and his girlfriend, saying that she don't think that the woman really loves him. Ma'am, oh, never mind. We're not going to do it. We are not going to sink that low to talk about her marriage. We're not going to do that. I refuse to do that, Jason. Jason, I'm putting my own self in 0-second timeout. We're not going to do it. We're just not. But I think y'all know where I'm going with this, right? This is some nasty work.
Alexis Wilkins is her name. Alexis Wilkins. She's also a member of the Calvary Chapel Church in California, Chino Hills. Also, the Babylon Bee guy, I can't think of his name right now, is also involved in the Calvary Chapel. We got to look into this Calvary Chapel thing. It's getting interesting. It just is getting interesting. Irrespective of that, filing a lawsuit to convince yourself and backing your life partner as she files a lawsuit because somebody made a joke, because that's what Elijah Schaffer's lawsuit is about. It's a joke. And in the lawsuit, they talk about his anti-Israel rhetoric. Who cares? He doesn't go there. He can speak trash about Israel if he wants to. In fact, I encourage him to do that. Anyways, obviously, this has backfired, the lawsuit. People are now making jokes. They're making songs. And I adore Tim Dillon. He's very funny.
Why is she so invested in this Kash Patel and his girlfriend suing? Why is she? This is the second day that she's talked about this. And not just in a passing sense, but to really, really? Oh, does that really I'm telling you, this woman is unhinged, y'all.
Very much needed humor. And he decided to look into this lawsuit and to see if there was something there. He was particularly interested in why Kash called her a sensational singer. That felt emotional, unnecessarily emotional. Anyways, take it away, Tim Dillon.
Can we get any of her music up, or will we get a copyright strike from the FBI? If we play Kash Patel's girlfriend's country music, will we get a copyright strike from the feds? Because I'm curious, by the way, if she's a country music sensation, I would just like to know that. I would like to know that. I'd like to be... I
think if we just play a little bit, it'll be okay.
Okay.
What does this have to do with anything? Okay, I don't know. Okay, so what? What does that got to do with anything? Okay, fine. I'm muting it because I don't need the copy. I don't need the copyright strike. And they will hit you up. Okay, so what? Y'all, this is some nasty work.
Israel! They're like, no.
This is wild. Y'all can disagree with me if you want to, but Candace is really coming unhinged. This is the most ironic week that she's in. This episode, I think, has been some pure irony.
Don't smell that stereotype. I'm just a country star. I met him at a bar. I'm not a Mossad plant. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? There's lots of files in the office. It's impossible to say which ones are Jeffrey's. Let it go. She releases a song. Let it go. 'Cause we're proud Americans. We're concerned with our families. We don't need to see no files. Mind your own business. Mind your own business.
I mean, put it on Spotify, put it on iTunes. I want to download it. It feels this way. It feels like that is the country song right now. We're proud Americans. We don't need to see no files. All we get is fed slop every day, all day. Yes, I am. I'll record that with you, Tim. I will. You and I will drop a country song because it'll just be called Fed Slop, and then we'll get sued. Tim Dillon's already included in my lawsuit with Brigitte Macron. Apparently, the president of France watches Tim Dillon, and we talked about the Brigitte case, and so he's drafted in there anyways. I'm looking forward to them putting Tim Dillon under oath. I don't know about the rest of you. Obviously, that's what America needs. This will be the only thing, and the only thing that we have good going for us at this moment would be Tim Dillon under oath. And I strongly advise that Elijah Schaffer puts him under oath as well. Now that he's making these kinds of jokes, Cash Patel should obviously sue Tim Dillon. I totally support that. If you'd like me to testify, Cash, give me a call. Absolutely amazing. All right, you guys, we are going to take a brief break, and then I'm going to come back and answer some of your comments and questions.
All right, so
All right, you guys.
That was I don't know, man. This is the amount of irony this week is going to be written. They're going to study this, man. It's going to be studied. Captain Jax, thank you so much for the very kind. You're the stream sponsor, and you have definitely funded this stream. And I want to say thank you for supporting. And what she said is, Grok says that 1 in 5 Catholic priests have been accused of SA. Yikes. I bet you don't say that about Calvary Chapel. Candace, what you got, Candace? What does Melanie say this? With the $10, she said, you are so right. She is not the godly woman she pretends to be. Candace, I think she's given up pretending. I think she was trying to pretend at one time, but I don't think she's even trying. Eliza says this with the $2. She says this, accused of SA 4K only in the US, who knows all over. Right. Like, what about, you're talking about, I got what you're saying. And we were talking about Catholic priests accused of SA. Absolutely. Like, what does this mean abroad? Shout out. Man, that's a crazy number. God have mercy. In the U.S., over 5,300 priests have been accused of SA. Thank you so much, Phantom, with the $2 super. Yo, that's right there making me tired. Man, that's crazy work. Man, come on. What's going on, Natalie? Thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. I don't know. I hate that StreamYard won't allow me to see the sticker. But thank you so much for that. That's very kind of you. I appreciate y'all. That's rich. Candy saying that was Christian or not. That's crazy work. That is some nasty work. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for the $2 super. And you're coming back around with another $2 super. Says this, and she's an even bigger Judas than Judas. I mean, she out Judas and Judas. I mean, for real. He's giving her the award for sure. And that's crazy work. The irony of this show is going to be studied by science. Thank you so much. Astro Kingdoms with the 5 says this. Candace took gaslighting, gatekeep, girl boss way too seriously. Also, just call me Astral. I appreciate you, Astral. Thank you so very much for the very kind 5. And I agree with you 100%. She went way all over the edge. Like she's missed the whole plot. And Captain Jack says this, the persons advising her are not her friends. They are trying to destroy her. I'm going to have to disagree. I think she runs this whole ship. I truly believe this is exactly how she wants it to run. From the swipes at the Macrons to swipes at the feds. Of course, everything happened with TPUSA. I think this is exactly what she wants. I don't think she's being drawn by the mouth or by the hook to do this. She wants to do this. It's not like she's stumbling into it. That's just my perception. But thank you so much, Joss, and thank you so much, Captain Jax. And Jocelyn Nelson with the 5 says this. Notice she didn't say the first person suspected is always a spouse. That's a good point. I did think, I thought about it, but I missed it. Ben called her on it. Now she can't say it. Now she can't say it, or he'd be proven correct. Evil. That is a good point. I like that. Great comment. That's a good comment. I like that. Thank you. Sleepy Sue with the 10 says this. I cannot imagine the pain that this is causing Erica Kirk. Dear Lord, please confound this evil speech. I am right there with you, Sleepy Sue. Please, Lord, disconnect her cable. I mean, come on. Have a lightning storm strike her internet. Phantom over here with the 2 says this: 133 Catholic priests have been convicted of SA. What, this week? Like, what do you mean? That's crazy work though. Even if it's truly 133 in the United States, that's wild. Thank you so much, Amethyst Angel, for being a member for 18 months. Shout out. The mods are wielding their wrenches with authority. Please avoid the homonyms and obscenities. Mind your manners. Just saying. Thank you so much for that. Yes, please keep everything above board, y'all. MT coming in again with the 2. Sorry, Catholics, but 1,700 priests unsupervised. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and I don't think Candace is right for calling out the Calvary Chapel. I don't think she's right because the only reason she's doing it is to besmirch Rob McCoy, Mike McCoy, and TPUSA Faith, or TPUSA Faith. That's the only reason she's doing it. She's not doing it because she cares about anything. Because if she did, she'd be talking about what's going on in her own backyard. Shout out again, Amethyst. She's a horrible mother. May God protect those little ones from this demons. She's causing them to stumble. How big will this millstone be? It's going to be a big one, and she deserves it. Thank you so much for the $5 super sister. I appreciate you. And of course, Phantom coming back around with the 10. Thank you so much. Gaza, 70,000 people died in 2 years. Most were actual Hamas, but at high end, 35,000 civilians. Sudan, one city, 69,000 civilians in 10 days, which is one we should be talking about. Which is the one we should be talking about? There we go. I'm right there with you, Phantom. She ain't saying nothing about Nigeria, Darfur, Sudan, none of that. But she losing her mind over that. I'm not saying that this is a good thing to see anybody die. It's not something to rejoice in at all. But I think you make the great point. Thank you so much for that, man. Very kind. What's going on, Luke? How are you, man? $20 super says this: I'm back in the stream where she is bringing up Rob McCoy for giving some guy. Why does she pretend that Charlie wasn't aware of Rob McCoy's past? I don't know. Well, first of all, being the fact that she's not a part of TPUSA at all, why is she acting like any of this? Like she has any say? Man, shout out to that, man. Let's go. He knew the man. She didn't. Shout out to you, man. Very good observation, man. Thank you for the $20 super. Why did she get away with this? Why did she do that? My husband, says MT, is gay. Country Candace. Yo, I mean, look, somebody could come in here and talk some mad trash about her husband. Like she really, truly wants to pump that brake about calling out other people's spouses. Because, I mean, there's a lot of questions. We got questions, Candace. Let's get done with this, y'all. Come on. I was muted.
It was Dan's too. So it's like, it's good. I think we definitely have to drop some. We just got to get in the studio, Tim. We just got to get in the studio and see what we come up with. Telling you guys, we have some new merch, by the way. I love this one. And we also have a Black Friday sale. Can you pull up the
no, she's still talking? Oh, for the love. But you know what? It's funny. She still hasn't brought up Kanye. That's interesting. Even though she's talking about going to the studio, I'm surprised she didn't say, we got to ask Kanye, got to ask Ye, can we borrow a studio or something? She still hasn't brought that man up. I think that's very telling. The fact that she hasn't said anything, in my opinion, is the most telling thing. All right, let's get done with this. If y'all want to, we'll finish up. Let's go.
And I'm not going to rant about that because it's not the book club, but I'm going to rant about that now next week in the book club. So there's that. But thank you. Too many of our men, good Christian men, have been killed, and the narratives that we have been told are completely untrue. Think before you type writes, it's easier to fool people than to convince them that they have been fooled. Yep, Mark Twain, that is very true. But I think people are now
ironic.
We are all realizing we have been fooled.
That is ironic.
Today's comments, we have Jennifer who writes, I finished making him a sandwich today. Candace speaks with clarity and courage, reminding women that choosing faith, family, and traditional values is nothing to be ashamed of. Her message, yep, Mark Twain. That.
Okay, I wanted to stop and I want to pull this back up. I noticed Candace is allergic to timestamps. She is allergic to them. And I'm going to tell y'all again, this show is pre-recorded. It is not live. This show is not live streamed. It is pre-recorded. And yeah, she still won't give timestamps.
Is very true, but I think people are now realizing, we are all realizing we have been fooled. Today's comments, we have Jennifer, who writes, I finished Make Him a Sandwich today. Candace speaks with clarity and courage, reminding women that choosing faith, family, and traditional values is nothing to be ashamed of. Her message feels honest, empowering, and much needed. I highly recommend it. Thank you, Candace. Go Max. I love Go Max. I love it so much. And I do want to put it on like a t-shirt, but then they're going to say like, oh, she's trying to grift off of his death, even though everyone else sold t-shirts. And so I feel like I shouldn't do that, but I do love it. It's just so Charlie. It's so Charlie to just say Go Max.
What would
Yay.
stop
Thank
you? Like, wait, hold on, wait. You mean to tell me, Candace, you would not do a T-shirt that says "Go Max" because people are gonna say you're grifting, but you do your podcast every day? Ma'am, please go have a seat. She ain't never made that man a sandwich. Like, ma'am, please go have a seat. The irony of that, that Candace used the Mark Twain quote. Look in the mirror, Candace. This is crazy work, y'all. I'm telling you, this week, I've not seen this much irony as what we saw on Monday and today. The irony is insane. You made the shirt? Oh, you made it to the show. Thank you so much for stopping through. This is crazy, man. Wait. Oh my goodness. Emboldened again by Megyn Kelly. Right. What is this? Wait. What did you say here? Those posts, comments were yesterday. Right. She never brings comments on as I'm doing right now in real time. I'm telling you right now, Candace's show is recorded. This is not real. This is not, she just recorded it, and she'll do things like schedule it late or come in and say she was running late. I think that's all performative. And y'all know this, I'm real. Y'all know I'm doing this live. There's no editing, anything of that nature. This is live. Candace's show is produced. It's edited, in my opinion.
You for reading the book. Honestly, I love it. I think you guys are going to love it. Obviously, I love it because I wrote it, but it's really fun. It's a fun read. It starts with Cardi B and ends with Cardi B. So of course it's going to be fun if it starts with Cardi B and ends with Cardi B. You can buy that at makehimasandwich.com. Even though it says it's available for pre-order, it will ship because we've already shipped out pre-orders. So there's that. Makehimasandwich.com. Key writes, I just read that. Oh no, this is a different comment. I finished Make Him a Sandwich, and it is a must-read for all. I am saving this book for when my daughter is old enough to read it, and I am going to save up for a signed copy. Keep writing, Candace. I can't wait for you to publish more. And there was more that I want to add into the book, but things got crazy when I got fired, and I couldn't find time. But it is a fun read. Corey Henry writes, Ye was and is smarter than people know. You know, but you know. I do know he is not the best at communicating what he is saying, but I always find myself suddenly going backwards and going, oh, I think Kanye was trying to tell us that. We just couldn't hear him or appreciate it because his style, if he communicates it musically, I understand, most people understand it, but if he communicates it just on a hot mic, it never comes across, I think, the way that he intends it. Modern Realty writes, is anyone...
So what did that mean, though?
reviewed what the security guards hand off after Charlie goes down? It seems strange that their first action is taking something from him and passing it around. Can we look into exactly what they removed and why? It just looked so coordinated and no blood stop. So we actually did look really close on clear footage, and it looks like they're handing something off, but they actually don't. They're kind of like hitting each other, like as if they're trying to coordinate. I mean, me and Mark looked at it very slow because I thought I saw the same thing. And then when we watch it from different angles, they don't actually do that. What's compelling is when you can't see them when they're on the ground. It's just not clear to me what they are doing there. And of course, we know they then put down pavers almost immediately and re-leveled that area. So I do find that to be quite shady. I don't know what they were doing. Mint Juleps writes, who was the lady donor that yelled at Charlie after one of the TPUSA shows? Was it Miriam Adelson? No, it was not her. She's trying to remove Senator Massey. No, Miriam Adelson is way too high up to have been that person on the ground. It was somebody else. I actually need to refresh myself on her last name because it's saved in my phone, so I don't want to misfire on that. Ask me again tomorrow. Okay, you don't have to pay to ask me again tomorrow, but Skylar put a note to ask me again tomorrow. So that this person does not have to give again. Bub writes, and thank you for giving. Bub writes, no more party loyalists next election. Vote for the one not taking AIPAC money. Get the Zionists out of our government. Yeah, I agree, because they're evil and they're involved in something that I think spans around the entire world, and it looks very ugly to me. And those people that still support them, you're like evil by proxy to me at this point. Black Swan Revelations writes, love Candace's videos. Keep up the great work. Mid Runner writes, did you see El Reeves attempting at interviewing Tim Dillon? It was like a cool uncle trying to impart common sense to his radicalized niece who just came back from her first semester at Berkeley. I hope they release that full interview because she was really something. Very patronizing, eyes always closed.
Wait, she wants the full interview? Are you sure about that? Because I know a guy that has it, and is queued up, ready to go. We can turn this into a launch party if you wanted to, Candace. I have it ready. I was going to play it tomorrow, but hey, who am I to deny Lady Farmer what she asked for? Who am I to deny it? It's only 27 minutes. It's not really long. Look, we might, let's finish up. We'll talk.
Voice alone was very frustrating, and I was not in the mood because Charlie had just died, and we basically kept the interview.
She's still lying?
Obviously, we had set up the interview before Charlie died, and I just really did not like that young woman. Very patronizing. Tim Hester writes, please wish Tim a happy birthday. You and I often exchanged tweets back in 2011, 2012. I loved your smarts and wit. Now my ex-liberal husband is your self-proclaimed #1 fan. Thanks for converting him. Keep outshining the fake and gay. Happy birthday, Tim. Hope you have a fantastic day. And I'm so glad that you are now on in our cult. As we've learned, we are actually a cult because we're thinking for ourselves. Nicole Howlett writes, imagine going to church and your pastor is bad-mouthing Candace Owens. Switch churches. How embarrassing. We love you, Candace. Thank you for caring so much for Charlie and not stopping until we know what's happening. Look, Pastor Hibbs is committed. I mean, 5 a.m. calls is crazy, right? Like, I'm not setting my alarm at 5 a.m. to host a quote-unquote prayer, whatever, warrior thing that's actually just about how you shouldn't listen to Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson. That's committed. You got to give him a little bit of credit for the 5 a.m. phone call. That's all I'll say. Mama Diaz writes, the Calvary Chapel I would watch online had a pastor that said, if you have a Bible that has a map that shows Palestine, burn the Bible. I could feel his hate through the screen. It was the last time I watched a sermon of his. Yeah, I think it's interesting that they get started. Hippie movements. Yeah, that sounds about right. 60s was a hell of a time, as we learned in my book club, reading Chaos. Then they killed JFK, and suddenly the Calvary Church is born, and you got all these military men who are now, LBJ's military men, and they're really focused on Israel. I'm just saying. I know we're not allowed to ask questions. Sue me for asking questions. You're not allowed to unless you have the facts.
Knocking
in front
books
of you,
over.
because I'm sure Israel's just going to come to us and say, here's how we did it. Here's the map of how we did it. Until they do that, don't ask any questions about what they're doing around the world. It's not appropriate. It's anti-Semitic. I read it on the internet. Silicon Valley writes, hi, Candace. Thank you for your great reporting. Better than the FBI. Your research inspired parts of my new historical thriller novel, their Black Vault fiction, for your book club, ? I am not familiar with that thriller. Our book club, we are right now not reading any fiction. Oh, I guess you're saying it's not fiction. I'm not sure if it's fiction. No, it does say fiction. We're not doing any fiction right now because it turns out that real life is way more complicated and more interesting than fiction books that I've read. Like, how could I think Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings was good? Look at what's going on right now. We've got some real evil people that are trying to come together. And I do think they're getting exposed. That's why I'm hopeful every single day. And I'm willing to take all of these figurative bullets from the foxhole. So I've always had Charlie's back. He's always had mine. I'm not going to stop doing that. I don't care who makes a video. I don't care if they hold up a Bible when they do it and blaspheme. I'm not letting this go. I'm going to ask actually every question until we start getting answers. And I sure as hell do not trust the people that are running Turning Point Faith and under the guise of Christianity, trying to make the rest of the world shut up about what happened on 9/10. So anyways, you guys, thank you for the support. We will see you tomorrow.
Woo, y'all. The comments are not that good anymore. Her comments are not that electric. They used to be good, but now they're just like, they're not really moving me. And I was not paying attention, and I did not do my bingo board. I totally wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry. I totally fell asleep. Man, that was, let me ask y'all a question real quick in the chat. I have the video. I have the CNN. I paid for it, and we can do a quick review of it. And we'll just watch. Like, her comments are not that exciting anymore. Real quick, green hearts in the chat if you want to. We'll just turn this into a quick watch party. I was going to do it tomorrow night, but y'all have just been blessing, and all these great supers and these fantastic comments, all that kind of stuff like that. I have no problem with it. And all the green hearts the president accounted for. We got to give the people what they want, though. So we give the people what they ask for when they give us the green hearts. We do that. That's the right thing to do. All right, so I got it queued up. We got it ready. Oh, it popped up in my ears. All right, we got it queued up. We're ready to go. Yeah, I just think this is interesting. I think it's interesting that Candace. So shout out to y'all. Thank y'all so much. How many likes we got? Do we got the likes up? Maybe I should have asked that question. Are the likes on fire? Well, the likes are up there, man. What we got? We're better than half, but come on, y'all. If you didn't hit the like button, go and help your brother out. I'm begging. I'm begging for the likes. I am. I'm asking for the likes. All right, so let me know when we get to 400, y'all. We got 363. I'm pulling this in nonetheless. But I do want to just remind y'all that this is the young lady. This is Candace. Remember who Candace is. This is the type of woman that Candace is. That after that very gracious rebuttal from Allie Beth Stuckey, this is the type of person that Candace is. This is who she is. She came back with this type of pushback. So just remember that. This is the woman that you follow. If you're a Candy, this is the woman that you follow. I'm not saying that there's not problems. I'm not saying that there's not things that need to be corrected. No issue there at all. But just that's the woman that you're following. That's Candace Owens. Remember that. Just remember that. Shout out. Thank you so much for the very kind super sticker. Let me see. Did I miss it? Her entire book club is fiction. Thank you so much for the $2. And I agree. Like, I'm right there with you, man. Like, they don't need fiction because it is fiction. It is fiction. All right. A true friend would donate all proceeds to Charlie's investigation to Charlie's kids. Hello. That would be a very keen. Thank you so much, Captain Jax, with the $5 super. I'm right there with you. She don't care about these people. This is a money grift and an assault on the church. That's it. Shout out with Amethyst Angel with the $5. Remember last night when in reference to Kanye, she said maybe it did not hit right. But I don't know what she was trying to get with that. I remember that. But why is she not addressed Kanye West and his complete 180? That just seems odd to me. Can we ask those questions? Can we just ask questions? All right, here we go. Shout out to the best live chat on the internet. We got almost 400 likes. I appreciate it, man. Thank y'all so much, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let's go ahead and get this in. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of stopping, but I'm going to jump myself over here. And y'all can check it out. I'll jump into the chat. We can have at it in the chat because I think it's going to be interesting. So green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
And like in our government. At the higher up, yeah, absolutely.
Candace Owens has a lot of ideas about how the world really works. Her podcast is drawing millions of viewers for celebrity gossip and her theories about Charlie Kirk and Jeffrey Epstein. But some of those ideas are anti-Semitic conspiracy theories that I recognize from covering white nationalism for 10 years.
All right, guys, happy Monday. Happy Friday. Get ready because we are going on a journey.
This summer, you've had 3 heads of state respond to you. Yeah. Right? You've been sued by the president of France.
I have.
By your retelling, President Trump called you and asked you to lay off calling the president of France's wife a man so it could finish Ukraine negotiations.
Pick up the phone. It is President Donald J. Trump. He is calling me.
And then recently, the Prime Minister of Israel maybe indirectly responded to your and other claims that in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, he was distancing himself from Israel or softening in his support.
I would only dispute the last claim.
Okay.
I don't know what he was responding to, really.
We're talking to her now because she's having a huge impact on political discourse. Powerful people are responding to her, and more people than ever are listening to her.
Candace Owens do be making sense.
Over the last month, she has at times been the #1 trending podcast, the 4th most popular news podcast.
I swear every time she has a podcast drop, I'm just like mind blown. Y'all may think Candace is crazy, but she's onto something.
For years, Owens was known mostly within conservative groups aimed at young people. Her first big job was with Turning Point in 2017. Last March, she was fired from the Daily Wire amid a dispute with colleagues over Israel and charges of anti-Semitism. She launched her independent...
How did she get to the Daily Wire? See, we might need to do a deep dive into what is how did Candace's career. We need to look at Candace's LinkedIn and figure out how she went from before TPUSA to where she is today. I think that would be a very interesting look back. Thank you so much for that, Tina. I appreciate it. I think that would be a very keen look back. All right, let's go.
Podcast a few months later, and her conspiratorial deep dives, where she sometimes builds guilt through association between very loosely connected people, companies, or whole countries, have drawn people deeper down the Candace rabbit hole.
We don't know now, but we know, you know? We don't know no, but we know.
Since Charlie Kirk's death, Owens has had some of her most popular episodes, as she's claimed law enforcement is covering up a conspiracy.
Rest now, brother. We have the watch.
Kirk's legacy has become a battleground for the fight within MAGA over Israel. Owens has been the principal driver of this story, with her claims that Kirk was angry about pressure he felt from pro-Israel allies and donors to disinvite Israel critics from his conferences.
You've talked about conflicts with donors.
They were threatening him. There's no other way to say it. And it's, I think, shameful that some of the Turning Point people don't speak out more about it. We all know what was going on behind the scenes. And Charlie was being threatened financially. He felt he was being morally threatened. He felt they were trying to control who he could have speak at his conferences.
About 48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright. Did he also express that he wanted to bring me, Candace Owens, back because he was standing up for himself? And then did he, just 48 hours later, conveniently catch a bullet to the throat before our onstage reunion could happen?
Owens posted group chat messages from Kirk saying a Jewish donor had pulled a $2 million donation, and he felt no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Turning Point confirmed the texts were real, and said Kirk disagreed with Owens on Israel. There's no evidence donors or Israel had anything to do with Kirk's death, and Owens has not claimed that Israel killed Kirk. But she has spent a lot of time talking about donors and Israel and betrayal in the context of his death.
So what are we to make of that?
When you say you believe that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by someone close to him, what do you mean?
I think that in the coming weeks, there's going to be a lot of financial reports that are coming out. And I, first and foremost, do not believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. I want to be very clear on that. Whether he was involved, I think the answer is yes. I think that's obvious.
And your basis for saying he didn't act alone is what?
I don't know, maybe the weird Fed messages that were concocted out of thin air that had no timestamp and were written like they were speaking in 1822, among other things. Their lack of an ability to answer any basic questions about what took place.
But do you have any proof that the messages were made up? Because that would be easily proven.
Yeah, but they didn't put timestamps on them, and Discord came out and said they didn't exist.
This was supposedly text messages, not Discord messages. It's my understanding from the indictment.
I actually did not read that they were text messages.
The indictment calls them text messages.
What would it be like the feds are like on a computer, typing it out back and forth?
That's exactly what it is. The feds made up the text message.
Let me also jump in. Candace actually read the indictment on her podcast. And so I went and found her podcast. I looked through the transcript, and she says text messages in the reading. Now, I don't know. Now that I think about it, I don't remember what day this was when she did it, but she did say text messages. So she knew it to some degree. But again, rather than to clarify, rather than say, hey, my bad, I misspoke, I shouldn't have said that, or anything of that nature, she just comes across as just being uber nasty, super, super annoyed. And I'm sorry, I think the woman, again, I think the CNN person is the right person to do this, because they're definitely oil and water. They're definitely not, they're night and day different. And I think that dynamic is really showing just how unhinged Candace is. Okay, let's keep it going. Shout out.
Messages.
But you don't have anyone from like the FBI telling you that, or law
I have
enforcement?
leaks.
Okay.
No.
Has anyone leaked to you?
And
that-
Tyler Robinson
But has anyone said to you, even off the record, like, yeah, we faked these?
I have very strong sources everywhere on both sides, from Lance to Robinson's family to federal government, and I am making the statement that those text messages were made up, and that.
Okay, I'm going to back this up. And the reason I want to back it up is I want you to hear. She says she's talking to Lance. She's talking to Tyler Robinson's family. I don't know how that's not witness interference. Let me back it up. And if you are an expert in this field and you know more about it than me, she literally says that listen to what she's saying.
Tyler Robinson.
But has anyone said to you?
Now, right here, she wanted to say it, but the woman cut her off, and I think she's kind of annoyed. That's why her head kind of goes to the side. Watch her head movement. Let me back up this little smidgen. All right, watch.
Anyone said to you, even off the record, like, yeah, we faked these?
I have very strong sources everywhere on both sides, from Lance to Robinson's family to federal government, and I am making the statement that those text messages were made up and that they did not come from Tyler Robinson.
Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing the evidence of that.
Sure. Because when we see.
And I don't know if there was an edit right here. I don't mean to keep stopping, but no, I want her to be able to keep talking. I want Candace to keep talking. My only thing is she was about to say it, and then the woman cut her off. But then she did say it, and she kind of expounded out. So I'm glad she said it, because it sounds like witness interference. And she literally said it. But I think the other part here is, notice what she's going to do here. Most of y'all have seen this, where she's going to talk about how she doesn't trust the feds and doesn't trust the mainstream media. Well, then who are you going to give this information to, Candace? Candace is making herself the arbiter of all truth now. And again, hey, maybe, the Candies are going to get in their feelings saying that we're saying that she's a cult leader. What else are we supposed to believe? Like, nobody else she can rock with, nobody else. She's going to make herself the only arbiter of truth. Watch what she says.
You keep talking about evidence. It's like, who's going to present that evidence? Like the mainstream media? Like who are you expecting to come out?
Yes, that would be a hot story.
No, it wouldn't be, because,
It would be.
It wouldn't be.
If the FBI, like if I had a source telling me, like if I had proof that the FBI faked those messages, that would be an enormous story.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we live in a post-Epstein world, and we know how stories get shut down.
For years, some in MAGA believed there was a deep state cover-up protecting Jeffrey Epstein's powerful friends. In July, when the FBI said the case was over, suddenly it seemed to some supporters as if Trump wasn't fighting the cover-up, but was a part of it.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Maybe recent events have changed this, but you said this summer that Epstein was your number one issue.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Epstein so important, especially in the MAGA world?
It's important because multiple people in Trump's administration came out and said, here's what we're going to do when we get into office. We're going to release everything about Epstein, and then we were gaslit about it. And so it was this major sigh, this major letdown about the promises made and the promises that weren't kept. And this particular issue is a hot button issue because it involves children. This is not a guy who you have to imagine whether or not he was guilty. He pled guilty in a plea deal with Acosta.
Owens often claims that Epstein worked for Israeli intelligence, which a former prime minister of Israel has denied. It is yet another allegation that has been driving the internet MAGA fight over Israel. But the biggest story to do that, of course, is the war in Gaza. Over the last year, a majority of young Americans have turned against Israel over the war, including many conservatives. And Owens has drawn in viewers with criticism of that war. And some of it sounds reasonable, such as objecting to the scale of destruction and human suffering, especially children. But she brings with it conspiracy theories that have roots in dark places.
The issue of Israel is dividing the MAGA base.
I don't think it is anymore. I think we're actually quite united against Israel now. Not the politicians, but the people.
If you look at polls broadly, there is a really strong generational divide.
Yeah, I think Megan said it best when she said nobody under 30 likes Israel.
I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you can, like, we have different audiences, right? Help my audience understand how and why and in what way that issue is so important.
When people notice what you're doing and you gaslight people and tell them that it's not happening, and then you think that you can just finance and blackmail us into a new reality, it tends to upset people. Like, we're watching what's happening in Gaza, and you're going to keep telling us this is about October 7th, and that October 7th started on October 7th. And then when people say reasonable things, and this is kind of one of the last things that Charlie said, totally reasonable things, you know, AIPAC should have to register under FARA, that I believe my own eyes of what's happening, and I have questions about this. And your response to that is to smear and to libel and to try to ruin people's lives. Then you shouldn't be surprised when people look at you like what you are, which is demonic.
And what do you think is happening in Gaza?
Okay, I'm just going to stop for a second. And I've said this way more times than I need to, and I want to make sure it's clear. What's going on in Gaza, good or bad, pro or con, is horrible. But that's what sinners do. We are sinners. And sinners keep doing, because we do it pretty well, we sin. But there are other places, Candace, and this is the part that, for me, this is where they lose me. You're not going to convince me that every problem is generated by a people group from a little sliver of land the size of New Jersey. You're not going to convince me of that. It's just not the case. And so therefore, you miss me with that. But also back to Candace daring to call somebody demonic and, speaking negatively about Allie Beth when Allie Beth was trying to give her sound biblical admonishment. The other problem is, Candace, what is your goal? What happens after you're able to call out these people in this little small land the size of New Jersey? What happens once you get done with that? Because you do realize that these people still need Christ. Their sin issue hasn't been dealt with. They just stopped sinning in this way. So what is your actual goal? How do you resolve their issue? I've never heard, and I still got the bounty out there, that, ma'am, I never heard you mention the gospel, ever. Ever, ever. And so, what's the point? I'm not trying to be funny, not trying to be flippant, but what's the point once you resolve this issue and going on in Gaza? These people are still without Christ. They still risk a Christless eternity. And what is your solution to that? Just something to think about. I mean, and the amount, and I just saw right here, shout out to MT, 522,000 Sudanese infants starved to death since 2023. But again, whether one child starved to death is too much, okay? But where's the same smoke for that? That's the part where you lose people, because it seems like you're just a one-trick pony. Every sentence is punctuated with Israel did it, Israel did it, okay? Is every sentence. And you're like, okay, we've heard this song before. That's where she's losing people. And I think that she's trying to gin it up like she's got tons of support. No, man, you're probably losing a lot of support. Okay, let's bring this in. Let's get done. Thank y'all so much, everybody, for hanging in. A little extra watch party.
It's very clearly a Holocaust and a genocide.
A UN commission has said that it's a genocide. An association of genocide scholars has said it's a genocide. Mm-hmm. Israel says that it's acting within the bounds of the law and it's acting in self-defense after October 7th. Some of the people who agree with Israel are your old allies in the conservative movement, like Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, you went on his podcast many times. He says there's no famine in Gaza. So who changed?
So anybody right after October 7th who supported Israel and their efforts, totally understandable. Like, there had to have been some sort of a reasonable response. Anybody who, what are we, 2 years, October 23rd, 2 years into this, is still supporting Israel, looking at what they've done, has to be a psychopath, in my viewpoint.
So Mike Huckabee is a psychopath, in your view?
You either have to be blackmailed, you have to be fearful for your life, or you have to be a psychopath.
Or there's an option. Was it she gave 3? So there's an option D. There's a fourth option. A fourth option of I don't know and I don't care. I'm not invested in that. I'm not. I have my own yard to be mindful of. I have my own family to tend to. I have my own church community to serve. I'm not losing sleep over that. I'm not. There's things that have been placed right in front of me that I have to tend to and deal with. I'm just not doing 9 time zones away. I just can't. I'm just not doing that. So there is another option. Sure, those other 3 might be valid, but the fourth one is equally, dare I say, even more valid, because most people probably don't care where Gaza is, and they're not losing sleep over it. Just something to think about. Bring this back in, Jason. Let's go. Yeah, let's go.
For comment, Huckabee told CNN, "I will be praying for Candace. It's sad to see her self-destruct."
In 2018, you went to the opening of the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. Your tweets from the time.
I worked for PragerU. I mean, it was
your tweets are very
Zionist
pro-Israel from the time. You're even mocking Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for believing that Palestine is an occupied country. So how did you come to change your mind on that?
I was completely, like I think most American citizens, since you've seen how much support for Israel has plummeted quickly, we realized how brainwashed we were, how lied to we were about what was happening in that region. And obviously in politics, my first allies, everyone that was supporting Turning Point, and then I worked for PragerU, were all Zionists. And so they were the ones that were, quote unquote, educating me about what was going on. Obviously, that was a world before October 7th. So I think my concern at that time was like Black Lives Matter in America. I didn't really care about what was happening in the Middle East. I wanted to support Trump. And so the issue itself felt so satellite. And then kind of the chickens came home to roost, and they were demanding that you have an opinion, that you say certain things. So I was like, oh, I better get educated about this, like really focus on that. And when I began to focus on it, I'm genuinely shocked, and I'm in equal parts ashamed that I ever supported Zionism. I think it's a demonic, Kabbalistic philosophy, and God will have his vengeance on those that are still supporting it.
And do you mean that literally demonic?
Demonic, literally. Demons, yeah.
As you know, you've been criticized for being anti-Semitic.
Well, it's not kind of weird, because 4 seconds ago you were talking about how I went to Jerusalem and I worked for PragerU. So something changed. I don't think I woke up one day and decided to hate Jews. I hate what Israel's doing. I think Jewish people, as many who have, should use their platforms to speak out against it. If you are a person who just follows the first 5 books of my Bible, there's no way that you could support what's happening in Israel. And if you are a person who does support it, then you don't follow the first 5 books of my Bible.
Owens sometimes deflects criticism that she dabbled.
So wait, hold on, wait. So the first 5 books, the Pentateuch, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers, Deuteronomy, those would cause you to not support Zionism or not support Israel. Okay, whatever. At this point in the game, I just think Candace is just saying stuff. I'll be honest with you. I think Candace is just saying words. I don't believe she believes what she's saying. I'll be honest with you.
In anti-Semitism by saying Israel supporters charge that any criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic. I've spent a lot of time covering white nationalists at their rallies, trials, and in hundreds of hours of phone calls. Just a month after October 7th, some, like this writer at a white nationalist website, began talking about how there was an unmet demand for criticism of Israel. And if the mainstream wouldn't fulfill it, extremists would. After listening to over 100 hours of Owens's podcast, certain terms kept catching my ear.
Trump is controlled by Zionists. I feel like we're an occupied nation. And now what's happening? Well, we have an occupied administration. There's no question. Trump is occupied by Zionists. Okay. He's completely impotent. He's completely powerless. He cannot say anything that goes against Israel or Bibi Netanyahu. He's letting them do whatever they want.
You can criticize Netanyahu without being anti-Israel, and you can criticize Israel without being anti-Semitic. But some of the themes, talking points, concepts you've used in your criticism of Israel, I'm very familiar with from covering white nationalists for 10 years. It's very unsettling for me to hear things like you saying our government is occupied by Zionists, Trump is occupied by Zionists, we're an occupied nation. Because like, there's literally a term that's like an 80s, 90s term from white nationalism, ZOG, Zionist occupied government. It's their idea that Jews control the world. And I'm wondering, like, are you intentionally referencing those kind of themes?
Wait, just to slow this down. Are you accusing me of white nationalist rhetoric? Because I do have to have a little bit of a giggle about that first.
Well, that's, I mean, to me, I'm also like, they'd be no fan of yours.
It's just, it's silly. But this is one of the things where I feel like it's such a lesson for CNN. This is why nobody watches it anymore. I mean, it's like you're sitting across from a black person, you're like, I've learned about white nationalism, and you're using white nationalism.
I know them, I've been to their rallies, I've read all their texts.
I get it, I know. I'm so glad you're educated.
No, listen.
But this is when it's like, put it in a book and anybody will say it. It's like, it's just, at a certain point you have to use your eyes and go, is Candace Owens promoting white nationalist rhetoric? Okay, immediately no. So what else could it be? Could it be that actually Zionism is what it actually represents?
What does that mean? Like,
It's Zionism is a political philosophy. Okay?
Zionist occupied government.
If you look into the history, yes, I believe we are a Zionist occupied government, and we're not the only one. Okay, yes, and I take it to the bank. If you need to walk out of here and say Candace Owens is a white nationalist for you to be able to digest it, then that's fine. You know, you have to deal with that in your own time. But
like,
what I will say is,
maybe this
I
stuff is
stand
ambient,
by.
and that's where you
I
picked
stand
it
by
up.
every statement that I made, and I want to double down on it. Okay, America is occupied by Zionists.
The Zionist occupied government meme is so old it predates memes. Here's the Wikipedia entry. Here's an archive of the most fascist board on 4chan, over 450,000 results. Here are the results from the old school white nationalist message board Stormfront. There are academic books about it, there are crank books about it. It was mentioned in a congressional hearing in the 90s.
Did they define what they meant by Zionist occupied government?
The government of the United States of America.
Occupied by whom?
The Jewish community.
There's another theory she talks about, the Khazar Empire.
Yeah, the Khazarians just decided to pretend they were Jewish, according to their research in the 8th century.
The Khazar theory is an obscure conspiracy theory suggesting that Ashkenazi Jews, those of Eastern European descent, are not the true Jewish people, but instead are descended from a Turkic people who converted about 1,000 years ago. It's been widely discredited by geneticists and historians, but the idea persists because anti-Semites find it makes useful propaganda when denying Jewish claims to Israel.
I talked to 5 current and former white nationalists about several of the concepts you talk about. The Khazar conspiracy theory, which is this idea that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from this Turkic people, not people in...
It's not a conspiracy.
It is disputed.
It's not disputed. It was written by them in their own books, and they got rid of their books.
It was written by a Jewish person.
Not a Jewish person, an
It's
Israeli.
disputed by
and he was awarded
DNA evidence,
and he
that
started a
exists
department
now.
at Tel Aviv University, and they've never taken his award back. Okay, you can't just. This is what I
But
mean.
but
you
we
can't
have
just
modern
like
science
delete
now.
modern science. Okay, the same people that control the science are the people that are writing the books. Their own history book said we are the Khazars. A magic empire didn't disappear in the 8th century.
This is what
I'm
who's
talking about
they?
Jewish people, Ashkenazi Jews, just so we can, this who is they thing.
All right, so here's the infamous Jewish sentence. Let me back up a little bit just so you can get a running start. So so we know who she's talking about. We know who the quote unquote we're going to find out. The they is about to enter the chat. Matter of fact, y'all just going to put they in the chat so we can know that they has entered the chat. So they has entered into the chat. They has entered the chat. It's crazy. They is in the chat. Shout out to the they. All right, so let's pay attention because remember in the clip that everybody saw, it was very nebulous. You're like, well, what are they talking about? You know, it's out of context, right? So now we know, well, we're about to find out who is the they. All right, let's go. Shout out to the theys that are in the chat. That's wild.
Modern science. Okay, the same people that control the science are the people that are writing the books. Their own history book said we are the Khazars. A magic empire didn't disappear in the 8th century.
This is what
I'm
who's
talking about
they?
Jewish people, Ashkenazi Jews, just so we can, this who is they thing has got to stop. I'm talking about Ashkenazi Jews. I'm talking about the people that established Israel as a nation.
Owens also talks about a group called the Frankists, a heretical Jewish sect that did exist beginning in Eastern Europe in the 1700s. They had weird sex rituals. Some conspiracy theorists claim Frankists are an ongoing cult that has infiltrated the highest levels of society and manipulates world events. One of the most persistent anti-Semitic conspiracy theories.
Everywhere I look, I'm starting to try to chase this Frankist movement. Where is it? Its tentacles are everywhere.
Owens claims there are current practicing Frankists in the government right now, a claim for which there is no evidence.
Does Trump? Does our State Department?
No,
do you think they're controlled by Frankists?
What I said to you is you can pick your lane in terms of the people who would get behind and support a man who raped children.
What?
Are these people being blackmailed? Are these people terrified? Or are these people psychopaths? You can sort them into those buckets. I don't really have the time to. What I'm here to tell you is what I actually believe.
These people all say that you are doing a speed run through old school white nationalist conspiracy
All right, well then I
theories.
guess I'm a white nationalist.
I'm not saying you're a white nationalist.
then
I'm
what are you saying?
These are anti-Semitic conspiracy theories that have long been a propaganda tactic to delegitimize Jews, to make them seem like a scary, secretive cabal that is controlling everything.
There are tons of Jewish people who are speaking out against what's happening in Israel. And
that's
I do
different.
believe people in Israel who founded Israel, people like Theodore Herzl, were actually Frankists.
We talked about Frankists a lot, for a total of 8 minutes and 25 seconds.
So yeah, I think this cult still exists. That's what I'm telling you.
In our government.
At the higher, yeah, absolutely.
Do you think it
The deep
motivates
state for sure.
Zionism? Do you think it is a motivation for Zionism?
Well, I think it's weird that so many Zionists I know keep defending children being raped. Doesn't make me comfortable.
Who is defending children
Any
being raped?
person that is defending Jeffrey Epstein.
I want to look at this more big picture, right? So people have accused you of your criticism of the war in Gaza as being motivated by anti-Semitism, which you deny. Can you look at it from a different perspective? Are you delegitimizing criticism of the war in Gaza by tying it to these conspiracy theories about Frankists and things that
I didn't tie it to those conspiracies. What's happening in Gaza is wrong, and any person that can't acknowledge that is either being blackmailed, is either a psychopath, or they're fearful for their life.
Or they just
What's happening in Gaza, I can see with my own eyes. It's not a conspiracy theory, and by calling everything a conspiracy theory doesn't make it so.
I feel like you actually got more careful with your language, because when I first started listening, I'd be like, who's they, Candace? You'd be like, they want you to believe this, they want you to believe that.
Why do you say who is they?
Exactly.
It's a word. So why do you
But
people
I
do
know
that?
I'm not the only one, because you addressed it on one of your podcasts. You're like, you guys are always saying, who's they? Well, I mean, Israel, not Jews.
No, but it's just,
You
they is a
have addressed
word.
it.
They is a word. So I don't need to always say they. It's just a weird, it's this is one of these psychology tactics where you're like, who is they? Who is they? And it's
Because it sounds like you're saying Jews.
Does the word they mean Jews?
When you're talking about Jews, yes.
But if I'm not talking about Jews, then they doesn't mean Jews. When I say they want us to believe this or they want us to believe that, and you hear Jews, that's your own derangement, right? If I want to say something about Jews, I'll say it. If I want to say something about Israel, I will say it. If I want to, just like when I want to say something about black people, I'll say it. When I was saying during BLM, they want us to believe, nobody said, do you mean Jews? And so again, it's one of these trash tactics to make people fearful to speak. If I want to say Jews, I will say Jews. I don't fear saying Jews. When I say Zionists run the media, I mean Zionists run the media. People that support the political ideology of Israel run the media. Any other things that I can help clarify?
But are you familiar with this very long-standing trope?
Couldn't
that
give a shit about a trope. Literally, please don't even go down the line. It's so boring for me. It is so racist trope, anti-Semitic tropes, all strategies to get us fearful to speak. I want the world to know.
I'm telling you, these white nationalists, Candace, I'm not, seriously.
I have to tell you something also. You're white, so if the white nationalists are here in the room with you right now,
No,
I
I
should
talked
be
to them
more
on the
fearful.
phone and they laugh.
Okay, because
including one you interviewed.
By the way,
Nick Fuentes.
they should laugh because what you
They laugh at the tropes that you are putting out. They're like, that is lowbrow stuff.
Okay.
These are people who 3 of them were literally doing Nazi salutes 10 years ago.
Okay.
And they are laughing at some of those tropes you put out because they think it's lowbrow and too far out there.
I don't
Like it's
know.
too crazy for people who threw up Nazi salutes.
Okay.
You are like putting out into the world this like connection between these like really ugly ideas and criticism of a war that can be valid.
I said what I meant. If you'd like me to clarify any statements that I made, I'd be happy to do it. But trying to do some roundabout way of being like, well, Nick Fuentes held a Nazi symbol and he says it. I don't care about what Nick Fuentes said. I don't care about your feelings.
But you
I
have
think
changed your
you're
mind. You
trying.
changed your mind about Israel.
Yeah, I did. But here's the thing. I think you're trying like a hatchet job at psychology, and I don't want to waste your time.
It's not about psychology.
Well, I know, but like
this
I
is
don't.
about like
I want
reality.
to help focus you. You're not going to be able to get even 1 inch on my perspectives on Israel. You're not going to be able to get me to believe or invest in some trope that I am saying that what they are doing is wrong and that the government is demonic. So, if you have anything else you'd like to talk about, I don't want you to spend your whole hour, trying to draw blood when you're not going to get it.
When you say, you have also said Israel is a demonic nation.
Yes.
Okay.
Demonic.
People,
I've said that several
when
times.
you mean this literally, right? Like
Literally
can you
possessed
explain-
by a demon. Okay, to shed that much blood, and then to have people that willfully gaslight people about that. It can be only a demon, a full Satan.
Okay, I was just trying to let her tease it out. Following Candace's logic, then the Roman Catholic Church is full of demons. They have the exact same problems on their hands as what she's saying Israel does. Which, by the way, I don't know why it's something with her and SH words. If you listen to it, she says the same thing with mission and accomplish. She gets this extra H in there. I don't know why, but I digress. There's no way she's going to beat these charges. And it's kind of adorable that she's like, hey, everybody, look over there about Charlie Kirk. And now it's starting to look more and more like maybe she might be involved in it. Just like she's saying, hey, everybody, look over there as it relates to Gaza. And we know that the Roman Catholic Church has got just as many skeletons in the closet as anyone else. It's just really weird. And no country's perfect. And that is a true statement. And I think that's why having a firm biblical argument is way better. And Candace has no biblical argument. So that's all she's got to do is argue from these secular points. And she does change her perspective. She has changed her. I won't be surprised if she's rocking with Nick Fuentes next week. I would not be surprised one bit because she keeps changing. She's not moored to any real moral standing. She's just kind of like wherever the wind blows. It's bad that people are getting killed and Frankist and Ashkenazi whoop-de-doos, whatever. That's where she is. But she's not, she's just going wherever the wind blows. Let's get done, Jason. We only got like 3 minutes left, y'all.
Panic possession has to descend. And that's what's happening. So anything else I can help clarify?
Owens has a long history of being provocative. Her upcoming book is called Make Him a Sandwich. And earlier this year, Owens gained a tremendous amount of fame with an 8-part series claiming Brigitte Macron was born a man, that she was actually her own brother, and stole Brigitte's identity in the 80s. The Macrons denied it, Owens doubled down, and they sued her for defamation in July. Her series builds suspicion through association, with a wide cast of characters from a fashion designer to an ancient Roman statue dug up in the Macron's hometown. But for her core claim that Brigitte isn't a woman, there's no proof.
Why does it matter?
It matters because it is government corruption. It's the same reason the Epstein story matters, and it matters because children were harmed.
But you're not accusing Brigitte of harming children.
Actually, Macron, it's statutory rape, and that's what we're going to court over. So yeah.
You're not going to court over the fact that she got together with Emmanuel Macron when he was 15. They admit that.
I'm saying that actually Emmanuel was 14 and it was statutory rape.
The Macrons say this is false, and that they met when Brigitte was 39 and Emmanuel was 15.
That's super
creepy. The lawsuit
creepy.
says they informed Owens it was false in a December letter.
Do you think you'll be victorious in court?
Yeah, because truth is a defense against defamation, and I'm telling the truth.
We asked the White House for comment on Owens' claims about President Trump. The White House did not respond. Turning Point also did not respond to a request for comment. Candace Owens reflects the reality of the new media ecosystem we live in. Whether you think that's great or terrible, it's the way it is. There's a temptation to treat figures like her as fringe players not worthy of attention. But we do that at our own peril.
All right. So that is so that's it. Like I said, it's super short. And I want to point out something I think is very interesting. And I want you to kind of pay attention as you hear clips of Candace or next time we watch a video, which will be tomorrow. Notice how she says truth is on my side, or I have truth, or whatever like that. It just seems really odd because, matter of fact, you see it when the Candies come into the comment section. Candace is the only one pursuing truth. Candace wants truth. The questions are geared toward truth. It's just really interesting. I don't know, something with that way they say the word truth. It just doesn't sit like they mean the same thing as I mean. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. Like, as I say that, it's different than the way she says it. And I don't know why it hits differently. And maybe I'm just like trying to read into it. Maybe I need something to read into. I don't know. But I just want to know what y'all think about it when y'all get a chance. I'm sure you'll hear some things because there are already clips showing up on Twitter right now. I'm sure we'll do another live stream tomorrow. So we'll have time. But I just want you to think about how she used the word truth. It just seems really different. I don't know how to say it another way. It just seems different. But shout out real quick. Thank you so much. Tina, she says with the $2, I wish she had not interrupted her. Okay, got you. And I agree. I think the woman did a good job though. I think she did a good job. I do want to see the director's cut. I wish they had that available because you can tell there's some edits and you can tell, even I think that some of the things have been moved around the more I watch it. But I would love to see like a director's cut or something of that unedited version of that. But thank y'all so much. Every last one of y'all for hanging out with us. Is it a hypocrite lisp? Okay. Whenever she says words that are IS, she adds this shh to it. I don't know what that is about. But if you pay attention, you'll see it. I heard it a couple times even today. I think Jason, for the long run, it's hard. As it is, we need to pray for her. Absolutely, man. We got to pray for her and pray for those ones that are being negatively infected by her. Because, I mean, she's causing chaos in people's lives, in their business, in their church, in their ministry. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's catching up with a pastor in the Calvary because she's impugned all Calvary chapels, good, bad, or indifferent. That's crazy work. Allie Beth's response to Candace Owens' tweet. No, she did a response to it? Really? Ay. Y'all know I'm Team Allie. I like Allie. Hold on. Okay, I'm just looking real quick. I don't see anything. First of all, I spelled Allie wrong. That's the first problem. That's why. There we go. She replied to the comment? Ay. Okay, I don't see anything. Thank God. Okay, I went over Allie's video this morning, but I don't see her replying to this most recent tweet. So hopefully that means she didn't say anything back to her. Just ignore her at this point. Yeah, I don't see anything, but I'm sure y'all will send it to me, so have no fear. Appreciate y'all, everybody. Real quick, thank you so much again to all of you all for rocking with me. It's been a long night, so I appreciate y'all. I know you hung in there. Appreciate it. Do me a favor. If you didn't already hit the like button, please hit the like button. Hopefully I earned it. Make sure you tip your waiters on the way out the door. Drop those green hearts, all that kind of good stuff. And Lord willing, I will be on A Righteous Perspective in the morning. I think we're doing it at 9:30 tomorrow. So I'll be on there in the morning. And we'll come back tomorrow night and tackle this again. Let me double check, see what time. I got to pick up the little one from school. Okay, yeah. We'll be back tomorrow night, 5 o'clock. Whenever Candace goes, we'll be ready. So everybody, thank y'all so much for rocking. It's been a long night, but I appreciate y'all nonetheless. Dropping green hearts in the chat on the way out the door. Make sure you tip your waiters, and I'll see you all real soon. Grace and peace, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.